The Last of Us Part 1 reviews are in, and there's general consensus to a point, but there also seems to be a lot of disparity between the scores. Why is that happening? I kind of called this. I told people that there was going to be significant issues with this game in the reviews, and the one main reason we're going to be talking about today and why this game is receiving inconsistent review scores. We're going to break it all down right here at the beginning of the stream so you don't have to go searching for it. I do it in the form of an update, and then we discuss it. These videos are longer because they are a live stream, and this is an update right at the beginning so you can get the goods without searching. This is a Reforge update. The Last of Us Part 1 reviews are in, and I kind of told people this was going to happen. I was worried about the price point. What is going on with the review scores? What are people saying? Why is there a general consensus? Why is it scoring lower than the original game? I'm going to break it all down for you in a very short video, so hit subscribe and the bell button if you like these quick updates. Be sure to head over to Reforge Gaming so that way you can catch my live stream. So first of all, what are people saying? Across the board, Metacritic, I watched Young Yaz video, I watched SkillUp's video, I was browsing Twitter and looking at the review outlet scores. Everyone is praising this game. SkillUp doesn't even really like the game, and he made a RoboCop analogy about the price. I'm going to loop back the price. I wasn't necessarily compelled by his argument, but everybody's basically saying the same stuff. They're saying, listen, the combat and the gameplay feels better. The game looks drastically better. Some people are saying it's looking better than they expected. Some are even saying that YouTube compression on videos just doesn't do the uptick justice. Young Ya intentionally went back to the remaster just to see how close they would feel in parity. He said that the more he played, the more drastic the difference became. The characters in the scenes apparently feel like we're seeing their emotions for the first time, with facial animation getting significantly better. Some are saying this is the definitive edition. This is what you should be playing. I do think there's some pretty good theories about they wanted this to be available to feel like a modern cross-gen PS4, PS5 game with the show right around the corner. So there's an overwhelming consensus. I wasn't finding any review outlets saying that they were disappointed or that it didn't look as good as that they had hoped, or that the impact on the gameplay wasn't significant enough. Everybody's virtually saying the same thing. So why are people giving it like 6 and 7s on Metacritic after praising the game? One review to read to you that was put into my Discord gave it a 6, a 60% basically, and listen to what they actually say. The Last of Us Part 1 is still one of the best games of the last decade and an absolute must-play for newcomers. For anyone making the unforgettable journey with Joel and Ellie for the very first time, this is a 5-star experience. Despite that, due to a lack of incentives, aside from the graphical glow-up, as well as the price entry, it's hard to justify a second or even third purchase for returning players, so they gave it a 60%. So they say it's a 5-star experience, it's a must-play for newcomers, and yet they knocked the thing all the way down to 60%. Another review said The Last of Us Part 1 is the definitive way to experience the original story and Left Behind, the DLC. However, it's hard to recommend it over the PS4 remaster. I appreciate all the work that went into enhancing the visual and audio fidelity and gameplay. However, it's just not $50 worth of improvement, and the lack of new content means, I don't know why you would expect new content in a remake, means you're not missing out on too much if you decide to go cheaper. Now, they gave it an 80%. They gave it a decent score, but they still go from saying it's the definitive way to experience it, but then they say that you shouldn't buy it. Everyone's getting hung up on the price. And I said that the price point was going to be a focal point. No one was really talking about it. People were just saying, looks like a remaster. People were being kind of negative and nasty. I feel like the price point was the quiet eye of the storm. Just not much going on there. Not many people mentioning the price. And now it's at the center of a lot of the review scores, just not landing where they should. People are going from saying that it is probably one of the best games of the last decade to giving it a 60% because of the price. And listen, I get SkillUp's defense. He says he's a huge RoboCop fan. It doesn't matter what comes out. If they add a little bit extra this or a little bit extra that, he buys it, okay? I'm not compelled by his defense. I still stand by my original statements. This should not have been a $70 price entry. It would have robbed a lot of these reviews of just an easy criticism, which isn't really a criticism of the content or the remake itself. It's more of a consumer gripe than an assessment of the quality of the game or the work that they did. I do think a price hierarchy is needed. You've got God of War Ragnarok, you've got Horizon Forbidden West, priced at the same price as a remake. I don't think that lends itself to making sense to the consumer. This is why it's scoring lower than the original. You have a remake that's scoring lower than the remaster, it's scoring lower than the original game, and it has nothing to do with the quality of the work. It's not worse than the original or worse than the remaster, so review scores aren't even giving us an assessment of how good this remake is. It's basically, yeah, it's amazing, it's awesome, 5 stars, you should definitely play it, but I'm going to knock the score down because I think it's too expensive. Even though I said this was going to happen, that doesn't mean I agree with scores being misrepresentative of the actual things that they say and the conclusions that they come to. So, let me know what you think in the comments below. Head over to Reforge Gaming if you want to see my live streams, and as always, hit subscribe and the bell button. I'll see you in the next video. All right, let's chop this one up, because I hate being right about this kind of thing, right? I hated being right when Hogwarts Legacy got delayed, and I hated being right this time. I knew the price point was going to be a huge problem for this game, and now we're hearing people say, it's a 5-star experience. It's the definitive way to experience it, but I'm going to knock the price down. I'm going to knock the score down because of the price. It's bonkers. It doesn't line up with how I typically read reviews. I don't know if I've ever read a review and they're like, this indie title is amazing. It's groundbreaking. It's a definitive. It's one of the best games of the last decade. But it's too expensive, so I'm going to give it a 60. I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10. What? A 60%? A failing grade? Yeah, and less content? You're getting free DLC. Yeah, they're baking in the DLC. I get people that are like, where's the multiplayer? But I don't know. I just wish they wouldn't have priced it the way that they did. I wish they wouldn't have. But it's not an indie? No. I was saying I can't imagine someone scoring an indie low because they're like, well, it was $50. I really think this should have been a $30 indie, even though it's one of the best indies I've played of the last decade, and then they lower the score. Do you understand the point that I'm making? I can't imagine reading a review that has nothing but glowing things to say and being like, but the indie was 50, I think it should have been 30, therefore it gets a low score. That's the point. Weren't you defending the price point the entire time? You weren't here if you think that. I never once defended the price point. I spent a lengthy amount of one entire stream debating the price point with people. I didn't think that it should have been 70. I said it doesn't make any sense. I argued that this is a remake, not a remaster. And then I went on to say, but I don't think the work they put into this is equal to God of War Ragnarok or Horizon Forbidden West. That doesn't make any sense to me. You took an existing title, existing audio work, existing stories, existing assets, and you did amazing work. But that's not equal to God of War Ragnarok. No, he was against it. Myself and others were saying it's probably worth the 70. Yeah, I've been saying for a long time, ever since I covered this, I was like, I don't know why you're charging 70. I said people are going to zero in on price point, and that's all we're going to hear about. And here we sit. You got people giving it a 60% because of the price point. Lono defended the game, but made the point to say the price should not be at 70. Correct. Guys, go through your morning rituals. Good to see you in the chat feed. Good to see all of you this morning, bright and early. Smash the like button, switch to live chat. If you've never been here before, you need to subscribe to Talkin' Chat. I'd love to debate you. Did someone say Demon Souls Frostbite? I swear to frick. I kind of respect it, though. I kind of... Excuse me. There we go. A little tickle. Sorry about that. I went to clear my throat and it made it worse. Center ring of the circus. What's the center ring of the circus? I would vote on the game like who would buy it for $70. Oh, I would do a vote on the game. I guarantee you a ton of people are going to skip out on this because of the price point. They're going to go and be like, look, man, I bought the original, I bought the remaster. I ain't buying that dadgum thing for $70. And that was the point that SkillUp made. He was like, it's like RoboCop. He's like, I don't care what comes out RoboCop, I buy it. I don't care what the price is, I buy it, right? And he said a lot of people are that way with The Last of Us. They're just going to buy it for the $70 because they're a huge fan. If you listen to the opening of Yang Ye's video, he really makes a compelling case for why this game is so memorable. It is so popular. It is such a great game. And he makes a great case, which you have to kind of watch Yong's content with that bias in mind. He absolutely loves this game. SkillUp does not like the game that much. He doesn't like the combat that much. And even SkillUp is like, this thing's worth it. You got to play this thing. You got to check this out, right? And yeah, Yang compared the two. He kept going back to the remaster, and he said that it was very, very jarring. He even talked about how the remaster has a clunky feel, a dated feel. He says that the gameplay enhancements and changes really, really helped this game. He says that it 100% has an impact on combat, fluidity, movement, and the experience of combat. Now, again, Yang owns his bias. He is a huge fan of The Last of Us, which I think was probably, it's probably pretty telling that he was like, listen, I went back. I went back and kept comparing it to the remaster. I think that was a good move that he did that. I think they let people who own the original do an upgrade for like $30 to $35. Then they would have had few negative reviews. I still think people would have taken an issue with it. Lono, I understand the 6 out of 10. Even the old Uncharted games, the games as a bundle collection of the first 3 games are not even at full price, $60 back in the day. This game doesn't even have PvP. So here's my problem with that, though, T-Bone. Here's my problem. When someone sees 6 out of 10, they have absolutely no presumption that that's about price. They see that as an evaluation of the game's quality. So if you see 6 out of 10, you don't think, well, surely that's because of the price. No, you think, well, that thing must not be very good. A 60%? Must be the Mandela effect. I recall Lono defending the price point 2 weeks ago, but I'll admit I'm wrong. I don't know if when I first covered this, I defended the price point. My most recent coverage, I changed my mind. If I originally said I was okay with the price point, I'm not sure why I would have said that. Because it's... Maybe I said that it looks to me like a PS5 game, so it's okay that it's $70. But the more I thought about it, I was like, no, this should not be $70. Because you know what I did? I saw it sitting in the store in my mind. I was like, if this is sitting in the store next to God of War Ragnarok, this price point doesn't make any sense. I can't justify it. I think originally I was okay with it. I was like, it looks like a PS5 game to me. $70, yeah, it looks like a PS5 game. But then, the more I thought about it, the more I was like, this is going to be a significant problem. Because it doesn't create a pricing hierarchy in the store. I can't imagine going to the Sony storefront and being like, yeah, there's Horizon Forbidden West, there's God of War Ragnarok, and here's a remake, and they're all the same price. You argue that people saying the remaster was pointless or shouldn't be made would hurt these kinds of projects. I don't know how hardly I defended the $70, because I let go of it pretty quickly. Lono never said 70 was a good price. Yo, I need to thank some people. Hang on a minute. Silver Subaru just hit a 20-month milestone as a member. Good morning. Love the content. Can't wait for the Frickmas coffee and the new podcast. Keep up the good work. Thank you. GNS just hit a 4-month milestone. Welcome back. Guys, if you haven't done so already, consider becoming a member. We really, really want to see that member count go up. A lot of folks are still missing out on all that members-only content, maybe gifts to members. We're shooting for a 1,500 milestone. We're in a brand new month. If we hit the 1,500 milestone, my wife and I will play genital jousting on a Friday night. It'll be hilarious. So she doesn't want you to do that. Please do that, and please frustrate my wife and make us play that game. It'll be hilarious. Some reviewers argued they docked a couple points because by today's standards, the level design is dated. I can understand that, but 6 out of 10 is ridiculous and misleading. Yeah, but level design feeling dated is not necessarily a okay, see, that's the problem. Are you reviewing the remake or are you reviewing The Last of Us? Which are you doing? Do you understand? Which are you doing? What's the point? Like, if they did a complete remake of GoldenEye and someone was like, yeah, some of the level design feels dated, I'm going to take points off. Well, now, hang on a minute. Are you reviewing the remake or are you reviewing the original game of GoldenEye? Like, I don't understand. Lono, I'm not calling you a liar, but you ripped us in chat for saying it was overpriced. I just went back to the VOD and you said at 20 minutes, if you think it's too high, do not buy it. Right, but, and again, I've changed my position. So if you're going to go back to the first time I've covered this, I hadn't thought about the price point that much because I was not anticipating what happened that day. I was not anticipating the negativity around the remake, right? So I was primarily saying, listen, if you think it's too high, don't buy it. If you're not interested in a remake, don't buy it. I didn't spend a lot of blood and treasure acting like $70 is completely justifiable. This game is worth every penny. We primarily spent the entire time talking about, is it a remake or a remaster? That's what we spent the lion's share of our time on. And I still stand by it. If you think $70 is too expensive, then yes, don't buy it. That's one of the best ways to communicate to Sony. Like, listen, remake should probably be 50 or 60. And again, I changed my position. Yo, Mithrax upgraded to a tier 2. If we get 100 tier 2 members, I'm going to start doing more content for tier 2 members and above. Vlogging content, hard videos, just random stuff. So make sure you guys do that if you want. People might also be forgetting your $70 argument confused with the times where you said new games should be 70. I don't know exactly what I said, but I changed my position, so why does it matter? Do we need to retread exactly what I said weeks ago or a month ago? Just days ago, I said, listen, I've thought about this. I've analyzed my position. I'm changing my position. This should not have been $70, right? Demon Souls should not be $70. They should be $60. I think there should be a price hierarchy in the store. A brand new AAA title like God of War Ragnarok being $70 and then seeing a remake for $60 makes logical sense in my mind. Now, I got news for you. If they price this at $60, people would probably still take an issue with it. They would be like, that's practically a full price game. By most standards, it still is a full price game. Most games are still $60, right? 50 probably would have made a lot of these people not say anything. They'd be like, that's 50. It's discounted. It's not a full price game, you know? Silent Warrior hitting a 13-month milestone and maintaining a tier 2 membership. Thank you. Speaking of worth every penny, membership's well worth $5 or $15 if you can afford it. Thank you, Silent Warrior. Who wants to be the first brand new member of the day? Who wants to be the first gifted member, pool, train? Who wants to order some coffee? Let's get it going. Did they villainize Skyrim's Anniversary Edition? I don't know. Skyrim's become a bit of a meme. We live in a real world where stuff gets re-released and is almost always worse, like GTA Collection, Star Wars Original Trilogy. Imagine complaining when we get something this nice. It's bonkers. I actually think that's a pretty good point to make. If you're just gonna judge this on the landscape of revisited digital content, this thing is a dadgum triumph. This is an absolute triumph. Plenty of companies and rights holders have revisited their super nostalgic content and not done a very good job with it, like Grand Theft Auto, Star Wars, and the like, right? Skyrim Anniversary Edition was a remake, it was a remaster. Okay, whether it's a remaster or a remake, the point that we're making is, if you're judging this purely on the merits of, let's put this up against other games that have been remastered or remade, this thing is absolutely stellar, right? So that's why I'm saying when you see a review that says The Last of Us Part 1 Remake review 60, and it's like, wait a minute, whoa, like, in the grand scheme of remakes and remasters, yeah, Diablo 2 is pretty good. What do they charge for that? Wasn't that like 40? The Diablo 2 Resurrected, it was like $40, was it not? I think that's a good example of like, hey, they put a lot of passion and love into this, and they didn't friggin' charge full price for it. As a side note, The Last of Us 2 price was permanently reduced by $20 after a year. Check out Digital Foundry's new video about tlou. It may make you pause on this game not being worth $70. It did that to me. Godson, what do you mean? Are you saying Digital Foundry convinced you it's worth $70, or it convinced you to wait? Which did it convince you of? I feel like you're leaning towards it's worth the $70. Like, listen, SkillUp doesn't like The Last of Us, and he's like, this is worth $70. Like, he argues that it's worth $70. He's like, I don't even like the game that much. I don't even like the combat that much. And he's like, this thing is absolutely stellar, and it should be priced at $70. Corey's saying it convinced me that it's worth $70. Okay, I will admit, when SkillUp started going through all of not just the accessibility features, but all the customization features, you can completely craft your own version of this game if you want. You can make it harder, easier, somewhere in between. They added, I couldn't believe how many features they added. It blew my mind how many features they added. I was like, oh my gosh. Like, it's a completely different game. You can craft your own experience. They put a lot of work into this. You argue the price at the store, not the review. I think I agree with that axiom. Digital Foundry's video is great, definitely should watch. Judges, though, their game. I mean, considering Miles Morales was $50 because it used the same map as Spider-Man PS4 and largely used the same mechanics but upgraded, I think The Last of Us Remake should also be $50. I actually think that's a pretty good comparison, yes. I don't think it's an exact match of an equivalency, but I actually think that's a pretty good comparison, yes. Miles Morales is a pretty good reason to be like, maybe this thing should have been $50, right? Wasn't Diablo literally a reskin? It was a remaster, so I get what you're saying, Eugene. They did, it was primarily a graphical update. They didn't, and that was one of my reasons for criticizing it, was that they didn't fix some of those internal systems that would have made it a much better experience, or at the very least, do what they did in The Last of Us Remake. Like, let me turn certain things off. If you would have given me infinite sprint and stackable potions in Diablo 2 Resurrected, I'd have played it with my wife. But I skipped it because it was such a dadgum headache. I was like, I don't want to play this. It's not fun. Digital Foundry breakdown by a Reddit user. Definitely looks better on the graphic side with all new assets everywhere. Everything's been totally remade with much higher level of detail. Offers 4K 30, 4K 40, and 1440 60 and unlocked frame rate. No visual difference beyond resolution between the modes. Lighting differences are transformative. Material differences are enormous. Cutscenes are much higher quality. Fire much more realistic and dynamic. Aesthetics are more realistic. Water looks amazing. More interactive environments. Improved reflections. Animations and gameplay camera reactions are in line with The Last of Us 2. Basic moving and shooting feels more in line with The Last of Us 2. NPCs move much more appropriately. Enemy AI is night and day. That makes sense because they rebuilt it. Audio is greatly improved. Yes, SkillUp talked about that. The surround is just phenomenal. The sound is incredible. I saw a very, very good comparison of just the audio of the gunfire, and I was like, oh, wow, that sounds completely... It sounds like somebody's firing a cap gun, and then it sounds like somebody's firing a real gun. Like, it's dramatic. Yo, Vengeance coming in with a 13-month milestone and maintaining a Tier 2 membership. Thank you. Green Joystick, Team Triple Dip, give me Frickmas, become a member, console exclusivity stupid, and I stand with Mo. Shut up, Vengeance. Thanks for jumping back in. He didn't say it's worth 70. He said it's worth it if you're a hardcore fan. Blenderly, that's why I didn't find SkillUp's argument convincing. I wasn't compelled by SkillUp's argument that it's worth 70. It's like... You're not saying it's worth 70. You're saying it's worth 70 if you're a hardcore fan, as you've just pointed out. That's good nuance that I probably left out. I appreciate that. That's why I wasn't compelled by what SkillUp said. I was like, but that's not how you price something. You don't price something according to what the most ardent fans will do, huh? No, that's not how you price something. Well, our hardcore fans will crawl over broken glass to get this. Price it at 70. No, what? No. Nolan hitting 3-month milestone. That's a brand new badge for you. It's been a great time. Thank you. A 13-month milestone from my man D Dizzle. Thank you. Welcome back in. Tons of renewed members. Who wants to become the first new member of the day? I'll pretend to throw confetti in the air for you. Who wants that confetti? Diablo 2 was $60 on release. The expansion was $35 in 2000. Diablo 2 Resurrected was $40. Oh, jeepers. Okay, so but that's just a remaster. Sony could have priced it at $70 based on how much was spent to make it. I mean, maybe, Godson. I don't think so, but maybe. It has 18 million people to sell to. What if they have to price it at 70? I'm not sure what you mean, Eugene. There's not a large market for PS5 only titles. Okay, that's a factor I wasn't considering. Yeah, okay, so that's a factor I wasn't considering. Sorry, I had to weigh out all the different arguments there. My issue with that is on one hand, I want to say it makes perfectly good sense. Sony wants to make it crystal freaking clear. If it's a PS5 only title, it's $70. Why? That communicates value. If it's a PS5 only title, it's getting the $70 ticket, whether it's Demon's Souls Remake or not. Now, what did they sell Returnal for? Did they do that to Returnal and Ratchet and Clank? Returnal price. Returnal's now on sale for $30. It was $50. When Returnal launched, was it $70 when it came out? It was $70 when it came out. My man Mike on the mic with a $20 tip through Super Chat. Good morning, people. Can't gift members on mobile, so here's some money. That's my man. Dude, I appreciate that. Thank you, Mike. Okay, so Returnal was $70. They were both $70. Dad gummit. Frick. I feel torn. Can we get the likes up? There's almost 500 people here, almost 200 likes. Guys, listen, if you've never been here before, you're watching Reforge Gaming. I am a very interactive streamer. I constantly debate and discuss things with chat. I 100% welcome disagreement, right? And I 100% enjoy back and forth. I'm also safe for work. So if you enjoy throwing on like a podcast in the background, a radio show, hit subscribe, talk in my chat. Subscribing is free. Membership costs $5 a month, but it gets you into all my extra talk shows. My problem with the reviews is, when did price become a metric to gauge the score? There are plenty of games that were horrible and still had a $60 price tag. Price was never mentioned. Right. Exactly. So I appreciate what you're saying, Ghost in the Garage Gaming, and people might be, missing what you're saying and how important it is. Have you ever read a review of a game that was bad and they gave it like a 7 out of 10 and they're like, and you know what? Just for good measure, F this game. Its price is $60. It isn't worth $30. I'm dropping my score to a 4 out of 10. I've never read a review like that. That was like, you know what? I'm going to take off more points because of the price. What? No. Nobody's ever done that. I've never read a review that I would respect that's done that. ACG does that. So he takes off more points at the end of a review because it's a $60 game. Yo, Mitchell just gifted 10 members, guys. Do me a favor. If you can hear my voice and you're lurking, click in the chat, allow gifts. If you can't do that or you're not receiving gifts anymore, click the join button, and then those 3 dots at the top, go to your gift settings and toggle it on. If it's already on, turn it off, back out, go back in to that gift settings for your account and say that you want to allow gifts. They'll start going real fast. Here they go. Guardian Angel, Young Nazi, Michael Martin, Raz Sizer, Kellinator, Sylvester N, Fake Beard Gaming, Veeder, Ingod, and Engo. All 10 gone. Pff, just like that. All gone. Let's get a member train going. Let's get some more gifteds. Let's get a bunch of these people with joysticks next to their name. Let's get them in our Discord, in our extra content, in our Friday night, community game nights. You get to see my wife and I play games. Let's go. My man Papa Smurf says, I'm jumping in on my own. I'm a member now. Welcome, Papa Smurf. If you just got a membership, whether it's gifted or on your own, get in our Discord. It's a members-only Discord where you can hang out with the community, find people to play games with, and you'll never miss my extra members-only content, okay? Plenty of reviews say this isn't the best game, but it's $5. Putting price complaining in is completely ridiculous. Free games get bumped up to 10 out of 10. If that's how you're seriously doing your final scores, these guys can kick rocks. So the point that I'm trying to make is, and maybe I didn't make it as well as I wanted, so let me try this again. If somebody buys a full-priced AAA game, and it's bad, it's a bad game that they bought for $60, let's say Cyberpunk, okay? Let's say they're reviewing that game like it's bad, and here's all the reasons it's bad. Combat, story, graphics, pacing, bugs, boom, 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 boom. They're shooting holes through the game. Yo, Toasty wants to jump in as a tier 2. Brand new member says, I'll be a tier 2. I want everything you're doing. I appreciate that. Once we get 100 tier 2 members, you're going to get more content from me. And if you want to see it, you're going to have to upgrade to tier 2. I'm telling you, you guys are going to do that. What up, he says. I think we need like 30, probably 25 to 30 more people to upgrade to tier 2 or just become a tier 2 member. Click that join button. Jump in. Keep the member train going. The point I was making was you don't get to the end of the Cyberpunk review and the reviewer says, I was going to give this a 6 out of 10, but you know what? It's also full price. This game's not worth 30. It's now a 4 out of 10. Like, they don't take... I don't know if I've ever read a review that I would take very seriously for doing that. Why? Because that's not indicative of the game's quality. It isn't. Like, I don't ever see a review score and think, I wonder how much points they took off for price. Like, that's not in my mind. When someone reviews a movie, do they talk about the cost of the movie tickets? Or the Blu-ray? No! I want to know how good the game is. How are the graphics? How's the combat? What's the story like? Is it good? Okay. It's all great. Okay, awesome. Well, why'd you give it a 6 out of 10? Well, I don't think it's worth $70. What in the frick? That has nothing to do with it. What are you talking about? This guy says it's a 5 out of 5 experience for newcomers. It's an unforgettable journey. It's one of the best games of the last decade. How is it still one of the best games of the last decade? And it's a must play, and you're like, but $70 is a little too steep. 6 out of 10. What? I'm not saying there shouldn't be a convo about pricing. There should be, but that's not part of a game's quality itself. It's like giving No Country for Old Men a 6 out of 10 because of the ticket price. Exactly. No Country for Old Men, one of the greatest cinematic triumphs and book adaptations in existence. It's one of the greatest movies ever made. It's close to perfection. It's like our generation's Citizen Kane. And if somebody reviewed that movie and said it's a must-watch, even if you've read the book and you know what's coming, you really need to see it. It's definitely a must-watch for anybody who hasn't read the book. But the ticket prices were a little bit high because the directors and the publishers decided to charge a little bit more. So I'm going to give the movie a 6 out of 10. What? What did you just say? Go to Amazon. When you see 3 out of 5 stars, do you expect to read reviews or like, this product is amazing. It cleaned my entire house. This is one of the best vacuum cleaners I've ever used, but it's a little expensive. You're like, oh, that makes sense. It's getting 3 out of 10. No! If you saw a 3 out of 10, you'd be like, that's a bad vacuum cleaner. That's not a very good vacuum cleaner. I'm looking for 4.5 out of 5 stars. 3 out of 5? there's probably something wrong with it. I don't think I've ever read a review and been like, clearly this is a good piece of equipment, but it's just a little overpriced. Who does that? Terrible example, 7 out of 10 reviews on Amazon talk about for the price, and those people are stupid. I'm talking about the general score creature, not individual scores. When I see a vacuum cleaner and it's got 2,000 reviews and it's 3 out of 5, there's no way in heck I'm gonna click on that and expect to see, oh, it's a great vacuum cleaner, but it's overpriced. No, when thousands of people have come together and concluded this is a 3 out of 5, I'm like, okay, I'm staying away from this thing. It's not a very good vacuum cleaner. I'm not saying people don't factor in price. I'm saying factoring in price is stupid because that doesn't tell me how good the vacuum cleaner is. You're completely ignoring the fact that for most people, it's not should I buy this game, is should I buy this game or that game. So yes, a review saying good game, too expensive is necessary. I think it's okay to say it, Camille. I'm saying bringing down the price of a game to 6 out of 10 doesn't make any sense if your only quibble is the price. That doesn't make any sense to me at all. Really enjoyed my hotel stay, but it was a little expensive. 6 out of 10. Exactly. You're not getting an assessment of how good the hotel is. You're getting an assessment of what someone thinks it should cost. What? That's not what I want to know. Were there bed bugs? Was the staff nice? Was the shower pressure good? Did you have hot water? Did you have a good view? Oh my, everything was excellent. Oh, it was fantastic. This is the definitive hotel to stay at for waterfront view in the bay. Oh, it's beautiful. Why'd you give it a 6 out of 10? Oh, it's a little expensive. What the frick? What? If I'm asking you for a hotel recommendation and you say all that, I'm like, oh, that's great. I'm booking it right now. Yeah, I gave it a 6 out of 10. Wait, what? Why'd you give it a 6 out of 10? What? I don't understand. What have you left out? What happened? Was it what bad thing happened? Oh, it's a little expensive. I'm so confused. It's confusing. It's dissonant. How would you factor everything in a remake remaster? We already know the game. It was good on the PS3. Remaster was good for the PS4. What else is there to say about the game? Serious question. Everything that they judged it on, Mike. Like the reviews that I read and the reviews that I listened to and the reviews that I watched. How good are the changes? Combat, graphics, lighting, cinematics, the scenes. Like, I got a pretty good feeling from SkillUp when he said, it's like the first time you've seen these people express their emotions. I was like, what? I was like, wow. A generation-defining game? And you're telling me this is the first time I've seen these people express their emotions. And then he showed me a side-by-side, and I was like, oh, wow. He's right. It goes from this, what are you doing here, to, what are you doing here? Like, it's that different. It literally goes from, like, a mannequin-like, no motion face to eyebrows, eye twitches, there's micro muscle movements in their face. That's what I want to know about. I don't care what you think about the price. Let me determine that. Is it good? Did they do a good job? If you tell me hotel's amazing, staff's amazing, view's amazing, this is the definitive hotel to stay at, let me decide on the price. Okay, that sounds great. Ooh, price is a little steep. Let's check to see if, let's check another week. Let's check for discounts. Price is one of the greatest marketing drivers to the consumer. Yes, which has nothing to do with what I'm talking about. You praised Timesia for its low price, killed Battlefield for its high price. Hard quotes. Your review, so I'm genuinely confused. You're misrepresenting what I said about both of those games. I did not give either of those games a score in relation to their price and say, great game, low score because of price. I praise them because of the subverted expectations in relation to price. I'm very careful in how I talk about this kind of stuff. Timesia gives you way more than I expected for the price. Battlefield gave me way less than I expected for the price, okay? Quality, super low. What the frick? This is inexcusable from a AAA company. This game, quality's way high. Oh my gosh, this is amazing for the price, right? I'm mentioning it within the context of the quality. In relation to the quality, bad game from a full-price AAA studio, amazing game from a small indie studio for $30. Okay, so the game's quality is being referenced in relation to price. What these people are doing is completely different. Great game. Awesome. No complaints. Everything's great. The definitive edition, a must-play. 5 out of 5 for newcomers. But I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10 because I think it's overpriced. What? Do you see the difference? Battlefield comes out, AAA company, full-price game. A full-priced multiplayer-only game in a context where multiplayer-only games are free. So there's a lot of nuance here. It's not just, well, it was full price, so I'm nailing it. No, they tried to do something, and this is something I said very early on. I said, this is ballsy. You're walking out onto a marketplace where games like this are free, and you're charging $70. Buddy, you better bring it. And they didn't. According to all the reviews I've read, The Last of Us Remake brings it. It's excellent. But you're going to knock it down for price. Those are completely different logical argumentation thoughts. They're not even remotely the same. I think a price point's a fair game in a review. I think it's worth mentioning. I don't think it's worth knocking a score down to a 6 out of 10 after you've done nothing but praise the game. That's what I'm saying. Let me say it another way. Let me be more careful. I'm not saying you can't mention price point. I'm not saying price point's not a part of a review. I'm saying it's being overstated. It's given too much primacy in the review. I think there's a difference here between saying this game is great and the price point is helpful, and this game is great because of the price and I'm bumping it a point because of the price. Yeah, I would not have adjusted my score of Timesia based on the price. I made mention of the price because for $30, I feel like I'm getting a ton of game here. I'm establishing like value transmission. I'm not establishing a score. I'm not like, oh, I was going to give Timesia a 7 or an 8, but I'm going to give it a 9 now because it was only $30. That's stupid. That's honestly dumb. I wouldn't do that. Now, you can say that's a legitimate way to score or adjust your score. That's fine, but like I would never do that. That's not how I operate. It's not how I think as a consumer. So clearly, yes, this is my bias. This is my outlook. That, you know, and obviously you might look at things differently. But I would never be like, guys, Timesia is a really solid indie studio Souls-like game. Between a 7 and an 8. But I tell you what, I'm bumping it to a 9 because it's only $30. What? I don't understand. So you're bumping it from a 7 to an 8 to a 9. So the game is better because of something completely outside of it, a price tag. What? That doesn't... So would you say that a game is 9 out of 10, but I do believe the price point's too high for what the content offered? I think you can judge something and say... Like, let's take the No Country for Old Men as an example, okay? I can sit here and break down every part of that movie, why I love it, why I think it's a work of art, why I think it's one of the best movies ever made. But I could also say, hey, They're bringing it back to theaters, and tickets are $100 a piece. Yikes, that's overpriced. That doesn't change my review. That doesn't change. I wouldn't change my review. Oh, yeah. So I got to go back and knock down some points. That doesn't make any sense. You can say both. I can say, I've not played it yet, but imagine I say, man, The Last of Us Remake is absolutely stellar, and still stand by my assessment that it probably should be $50, maybe 60. I could still stand by that. That doesn't take away from my assessment of the quality. I almost wish we'd done a show like this when I was sitting next to you. I would have blanking needed that censor bleep. Great movies. Authors' books are a pain in the butt to read, though. I've actually heard his books are good. No one is going back and knocking down the original views of The Last of Us, though. That comparison isn't the same. I don't have a great equivalency, Camille, because we don't really have this in any other venue. I'm doing the best I can to say I wouldn't adjust my score of something because I felt it was over or underpriced. I might make mention of it, but I wouldn't adjust Timesia's score up from like a 7.5 or an 8. I wouldn't bump that up to a 9 because it's $30. And on the same token, I wouldn't knock down, Cyberpunk's score from like a 6, being like, it's like a 6, pretty mediocre game. Oh, and it's also full price, so it's now a 4. Like, I wouldn't do that. It doesn't make sense to me. You gotta make it make sense to me, because it doesn't make sense to me. I would never do that, and when I read a review that does that, it creates an immediate dissonance. You just said this thing was amazing. It's a 5 out of 5 experience for newcomers. It's awesome. It still is one of the best games of the last decade, but you gave it a 6. A 6 out of 10. It was a Metacritic vigil. It was a Metacritic review. A lot of people on Metacritic are doing that. They're giving it like a 6 or a 7 after saying nothing but glowing things, and then they knock the score way down because of the price. Like, how that's such a significant metric. That would be like me doing your employee review and being like, always on time, always punctual, always hitting your numbers. Immaculate work. Just immaculate. It's amazing. You took a long lunch on Friday, so we're going to knock you down from an 85 to a 6. So, no raise for you! Like you'd be incensed. You'd be like, you're taking one thing and you're completely overstating it. You're letting that one thing overshadow all my good work? You're letting that overshadow everything I've done? All my projects, my punctuality, my hard work, none of it matters because I took a long lunch once? Lono, they're click farming and it's obvious. You've never heard of that outlet before, and now you've read their review. Well, there you go. So is your complaint that the review was a 6 out of 10 because of the price, or that the price played such a huge factor? I'm trying to be more nuanced, Camille. It's hard because I think it just makes for better television when I'm like ramped up. My issue is the amount of impact they're allowing price to play a factor. I don't care if you mention price. It doesn't bother me at all. If you spend 8 paragraphs praising The Last of Us Remake, right? If you spend 8 paragraphs praising it, at the end you say, I still think it's a little overpriced. I don't think this thing should have been 70. I'm not going to like throw my papers in here and be like, how dare you mention that? But when you say all those great things and then you're like 6 out of 10, I'm like, wait, what happened? I was just reading a glowing review and suddenly I'm seeing a 6. Like, what happened? That's not indicative of the whole. Does that make sense? Like, it's not a summary of its parts. It's a cheap shot. It's a cheap shot. Yo, thank you, Cyril Portier, for renewing your membership and jumping back in. It's the opposite on the Halo Infinite reviews. Buggy game, blah, 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 9 out of 10. Right. That I agree with. I thought you were trying to say it shouldn't factor at all. I mean, I was talking at a mile a minute, and I was ranting. I was in full Lono rant mode. It's not that you can't mention it. It's that why on earth is it a wrecking ball to everything you just said? Like I said, imagine having your employee, annual review go that way. Positive, 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 positive. You were late one day. 6 out of 10. You'd be like, what? You would argue that they're rigging the score to keep you from a raise. You would say, that's unjust. You would say that's not just. You would say, what? Wait a minute. That's not a just assessment of my work. What, I'm late. I was late one time? That seems unjust. And that's my point, is glowing praise. It's too expensive. Wham! Bring the price down. I'd say I'm about to kick your butt. Choose your words carefully. Yeah, you'd be incensed. You'd be so angry. So it's fair to reduce the rating from a 9 out of 10 to an 8.5 or an 8 out of 2 due to the price. Like, okay, Vigil, you're getting down into the minutia and the specifics, but yes, I could see somebody saying, I was going to give this an immaculate score of 9 out of 10. I got to drop the price. I got to drop the score a little bit. I'm giving it an 8.5. I can't give it that 9 because I don't think this thing should have been 70. I would be like, okay, you're still giving an assessment of the quality of the work of the product. You're not like, it's amazing, and then you come in at the last second and sweep the leg, and you're like, yeah, but it's expensive. But what if you worked there for 5 years, did nothing new, and only slightly improved upon your work since you were hired? You're being disingenuous, good sir. No, you're being disingenuous. If you're going to claim that all the reviews and the consensus about the work done in this game is slightly improved and done nothing new since I was hired, that's disingenuous. That is a gross misrepresentation of what they did. And the people that reviewed this at least had the good sense and integrity to not summarize the game in this way. Go read the reviews. Go watch the reviews. Nobody is saying that. Do you want to know why? Because they would look like idiots if they did. Suddenly, miraculously, it's a remake. Suddenly, miraculously, it's just hitting amazing heights of great work. Why? Because they would look like untrustworthy liars if they said what everybody's been saying up to now. You think any of these review outlets would have wanted to play that game? Do you want to know why? I'll tell you why. The industry is paying attention. And if your review outlet would have come out of the gate and been like, it's marginal differences, it's basically a remaster, the industry would have been like, okay, noted. Noted. That review outlet is trash. None of the review outlets are saying that. Nobody with a shred of integrity is saying that. They're all saying, this thing is amazing. It's immaculate. It's beautiful. You got a guy like SkillUp that doesn't even like the game, and he's justifying the $70 price point. Like, nobody with a shred of integrity is going to walk out and say that this is a joke or that this is just marginal improvements. No, nobody's saying that. And there's a reason, because they know that developers and publishers are paying attention. It was a great game. They upscale it, but not enough to justify the high price. The work analogy you made isn't perfect, but my point is appropriate. No, because again, you're misrepresenting the product. They didn't upscale it. They rebuilt 90% of the game. That's not upscaling. You're literally using words that are inaccurate. Like, that's my point. We went through this the other day. It's like no one has the capacity to talk about this game. If you try to, like, minimize what they did, you have to say things that just aren't accurate. That's not an accurate representation of what they did. Like I said, if you tore my entire house down and rebuilt it, and I was like, man, you guys did a really, really great job repainting my house. People are like, what the huh? We didn't just repaint it. Sure, we painted it. That was a part of the project, but that's not all we did. We didn't just upscale The Last of Us. If I already played it, for this specific remake, the devil himself putting this in a vice wouldn't be enough to make me say it's worth 70. What are the chances we see in 10 months all the assets that were used are just from tlou 2? Wait. How would that work, Butters? How would that work? There are characters, buildings, structures, signs, and stuff in this game that are they're not in tlou 2. Your prediction is, I don't even know what to call it. It just feels kind of silly. They're completely different games, and everybody's aged. So let me get this straight. Would they grab Ellie from tlou 2 and then use de-aging software? Oh yeah, recycled assets. No, they rebuilt the game. What are you talking about? To a consumer, it's an upscale. Most of us aren't developers, and it's not on Joe Schmo to understand that they've rebuilt from the ground up, where the final product is a prettier duplication. It is on you as a consumer, and if you're going to put your head in the sand and ignore the 3 or 4 videos they put out and the 2 or 3 blog posts they put out and say it's just an upscale, it's not worth it, I have no respect for that consumer. That consumer is being willfully ignorant. You're being willfully ignorant. The average buyer isn't going to see that video. If they go into the storefront in Sony, it's right there. It shows the differences. It shows the trailer. It shows the graphics. You don't think the average consumer watches trailers? Do we need to go look at the view count of these trailers? What do you mean? Tons of people watch these trailers. Tons of people watch these videos to question whether or not I should buy it. I'll do you one better. You think the average consumer is going, it's just a remaster? No. The average consumer is going, holy smokes! That looks incredible. 18 to 20 million people have PS5s. And you think the average person that bought a PS5 is going to watch a trailer for this and go, it just looks prettier. I think a lot of the average consumers are going to be like, oh my gosh, this looks amazing. I think the average buyer grabs the blue box from Walmart, and that's who the reviews are written for. I love that you just said Joe Schmo doesn't check out trailers, doesn't check out videos, but he goes and reads reviews on Metacritic. Who in the frick is this weirdo that you're describing? It's a consumer who's completely unplugged from YouTube, one of the most visited, most popular sites on planet Earth. And they don't go to YouTube and watch trailers, but they go and read reviews. They're not plugged in. They're not informed. They don't know about all this stuff. They're Joe Schmo, but they're going to go read a review. Go compare the review viewership of an IGN video to a trailer or the PlayStation videos they put out about everything they put into this. Compare the viewership and see how wrong you are. Average consumer here, I have no interest in tlou, remake, remaster, whatever you want to call it. Too much other stuff to play and never played the original version. You're a member to a YouTube channel and you're in here talking about gaming. I hate to break it to you. You're not an average consumer. You are way more plugged in than the average consumer. The average consumers don't know I exist. I think the average buyer for PlayStation has already played this game, given that it's one of the most popular, raved about games on PlayStation, so probably not going to be a ton of brand new players to it. I actually don't agree with that. I think the TV show and I think all this hype and controversy will actually make a lot of new players check it out. I actually think so. I still think there'll be a minority in the pool, but I think a lot of new players are actually going to check this out, yes. I do. I think more than maybe they're anticipating because of the TV show and other factors. It's going to drive people to go check out the game. I was chatting that point before the show started. I easily forget how not normal we are. I haven't played any Last of Us games. Is it worth it, or should I get the older version first? No. If you own a PS5, no. Either buy the remake or wait for it to go on sale. I would say if you've never played it, the remake is worth the $70 price point because you're basically buying a $70 game that Young says he believes it's at a cross-gen quality. He says he believes this is a PS5, PS4 cross-gen quality title, meaning it's got parity with Forbidden West as far as game quality. He did say that some of the combat and some of the instances still have a more modern, more dated feel, but he believes, this feels like a cross-gen title. So if you've never played the original, I think it's worth it. Get the old version first. I hear they are two different games. This is a little more than marketing for the TV show, to be honest. I'm not saying it's marketing for the TV show. What I'm saying is there will be new people that watch the TV show and then go buy this. We didn't need another remake. I mean, I don't think anybody asked you. You know what I'm saying? That's what's so funny. For every person, that says we didn't need this, there's probably 3 people that are excited about it. I'm sure the PC version will also come out now. I'm very disappointed because I was hoping to play it on PC. Yeah, they'll probably kick it down the road. For someone who like me who plays PC, I think $70 is fair for a first run, though. We didn't need another game, period. Hey guys, we have been streaming for exactly 1 hour, and YouTube always wants us to run advertisements on the hour, and I don't do that. I do not just like to disrupt the live show with ads. If you're watching the VOD or the past broadcast, there's like an ad every 30 minutes, but I don't do that when I'm live. We ask that people jump in as members or gift members, do a super chat, any of those things. If you can't afford to do a membership, stick around. You might get a gifted membership. If you can't afford to do a super chat, do me a favor then and at least do the free things. Click subscribe, click the like button. That helps me. That helps the channel and the video. That's a great way to support what we do. And hey, we got a coffee order and I didn't see it. They got a best of both worlds, my man D-Tom, and he also got a Team Black mug. He's Team Black on the Dark Roast, Team Dark. He got a Team Dark Black mug. He's Team Dark. We have a Dark Roast and a Light Roast. Thank you so much for doing that. I appreciate you so much. You guys supporting the channel with coffee orders. You are watching Reforge Gaming, and we have our own coffee, Reforge Roast. It is not a sponsor. It's ours, okay? I have it roasted, bagged, shipped to me, and then we ship it to you. We have a light roast and a dark roast. The light roast is my favorite. If you're Team Light, Team Dark, let us know in the chat. You could always try best of both worlds and do a light roast and a dark roast order. Thank you to everybody who has taken part in helping us with the coffee and buying it or gifting members or becoming a member. Thank you to everybody who is a new subscriber today. I hope you're enjoying the conversation and the debate. We have very, very involved, spicy debates here, but I am safe for work. You'll notice I haven't been swearing. I keep it safe for work so you can throw me on in the background of your day, so be sure to do that. East Coast Overlord. Been a while, Lono. What were you right about this time? Thank you for the 5 spot. It happened again, creature. 1 hour. 1 hour in. Get the frick out of here. Anyway. Freaking Zubair ordering multiple orders of dark roast for random people to pad the stats. The best of both worlds is just 2 bags of dark roast, says Zubair. Anyway. So this is what I said, East Coast Overlord. Let me recap you guys. The Last of Us Part 1 reviews are in. And there's a giant disparity between what people are saying and the scores that some people are giving it. We're seeing reviews on Metacritic and other locations where they have nothing but glowing good things to say, and then they give it a low score, like a 6 out of 10, 7 out of 10, after saying nothing but good things about it, right? And so I said the other day, I had changed my position on the price point. I said, you know what? I've thought about it. I've kind of thought about what the storefront's going to look like. You got Horizon Forbidden West and God of War Ragnarok and all these other titles at $70. And then you got a remake coming out at the exact same price point. And I argued that there should be a pricing hierarchy in the storefront. I do not agree that the work they put into this is equal to the work of what went into Horizon Forbidden West or God of War Ragnarok. So the Last of Us Remake, in my mind, should have been $50 or $60. And I said that I think this was like the quiet eye of the storm. Nobody was saying much about price. It'd get mentioned here and there. Most people were saying it's a remaster, not a remake. And I said, I think that the price point is going to be at the center of all of this. That's what I think. I think the price point is going to be a problem. And here we sit today. The primary reason that scores are all over the place is price. So we've been debating, like, is that a just way to review something? To be like, oh yeah, great game, blew my mind, it was earth-shattering and life-changing, 6 out of 10, I think it's too expensive. A 5 spot from Yixels. Had to come in with that 5 spot. I think the drama around this game has blown up way too much. Hope all's well for you and your family. Yo, Yixels used to come in and do his daily 5 spot. Dude, man, that's amazing. It's got to be an exposure timer. That was almost down to the minute. I told you. I was like, I'm telling you, man, my spidey sense is tingling. They're doing something at the hour mark. And I wonder if it's because I'm not hitting the ads, creature. I wonder if they're like, hey, we're giving you love, and at the hour mark, you didn't hit the ads. I wonder if they literally give me like a minute to 2 minute check and like a check mark. And if after a minute or 2 minutes that check mark's not hit, they kick me off. I'm extremely curious about that. Is the review of the quality of the game or review of the value of the buy? See, that's where I land on it, Zubair. I think when someone looks at the score of an item, they are looking at an assessment of the item's quality. Which is why I referenced, if you're shopping for vacuum cleaners and you see 2 vacuum cleaners side by side, they each have 2,000 reviews. One is 3 out of 5 stars and the other is like 4.5. You're not going to say, well, surely the one that's 3 stars is a great vacuum cleaner, but it's just too expensive. No, you're going to say, well, clearly this vacuum cleaner is better than this one. Even if you looked at the price point and thought, well, that one's more expensive than this one, maybe people knocked the price down, maybe people knocked the score down because of the price. But that's still not generally how we look at review scores. I've never gone to Amazon and compared prices on something and saw a bunch of reviews 3 stars, a bunch of reviews 4.5, and thought, well, surely that's because it's overpriced. I've thought, no, it's probably a bad item. It probably has high fail rate or isn't as good as people would like it to be. It's not a good product. So when I look at review scores of video games, I don't think I've ever thought, oh, it got a 6 out of 10. I bet you it's a great game that's just overpriced. I've never thought that. I don't think I've ever seen a 6 out of 10 or a 7 out of 10 and thought, I bet you that game is stellar and it's just overpriced. I thought, that sounds like an average to barely above average game. It sounds like a very mediocre game. 6? 7? It's got to be like an 8 or a 9 to really get people's attention. So, I'm telling you, I don't think I've ever read a review and been like, oh, 9 out of 10. That must be an appropriately priced great game. That's you. They aren't bound to what you would like to review. They can review it on their own opinion. Yeah, and I can call it stupid all day long. I think that's stupid. It's so dumb. I think that's a dumb thing to do. I see a 6 out of 10. I'm not going to say, I bet you if I read this, it's nothing but glowing praise. I bet you that 6 out of 10 is because of the price. You know what I'm saying? 6-star hotels are very expensive. Do they get marked down for price? Of course not. That's kind of what we said earlier. You know that some new fans are going to see the remake at $70, Last of Us 2 at $50, and see $120 to play definitive versions of each of their own brand new shiny PS5. Yeah, or they might say, why is the sequel cheaper than the remake? And we can say you're complaining and harping on nothing big. Yeah. And I can say, you're not making a compelling case. I am attempting to make a compelling case why it's completely illogical and dissonant to spend 5 to 8 paragraphs doing nothing but glowing praise for the remake, and then at the last second being like, but I think it's a little bit overpriced. That's not the sum of the game's parts. That's not even the sum of the review's parts. It isn't. It's not logical. I think I'm making a pretty good case that it's a dissonance. It's not the summary of what you just said, as I referenced and made the analogy to an annual review as an employee. You would be incensed if they said nothing but glowing praise, but then sucker punched you at the end of the employee review and said, yeah, but you were late one time, so we're gonna give you a 6. You would be mad. Imagine working on this game. Imagine pouring everything they did in this game, and then people are like, it's amazing, it's beautiful, it's fantastic, 6 out of 10. Wait, what? Yeah, it's overpriced. Are you kidding me? YouTube Lurker with a $10 tip. I'll debate this all day. I look to reviews for an informed opinion on the art, not an ignorant opinion on if I can afford it. The market determines value, not the reviewer. Right. It's an overstep. The 6 out of 10 can't possibly be from a downgraded product. Imagine getting a Mustang you paid to have come with a V8, but instead you got an EcoBoost instead. People will still accept it because it's a Mustang. I'm not sure the point that you're making, Devil. Being late one time is very different than a constant price. I'm trying to create an analogy to drive home the point, Kage, that if you sat there and got nothing but glowing praise from your employer and they picked out one thing to invalidate all the glowing praise and to knock your score down, you would claim that is unjust. To praise the work that they did, the result of their work, the combat, the gameplay, the flow, the appearance, how the game looks and how you experience it, and to praise that, and then to say, but it's too expensive. That is a sucker punch. It's a sucker punch. Whose review is this, by the way? Virtually all of the reviews on Metacritic that are a 6 or a 7, that's what they do. We rejected the other extreme with Infinite. Yes, I'm being consistent because we pointed out the same problem with the Halo Infinite reviews. Halo Infinite reviews would say, it's got a lot of problems, it's got a lot of bugs, there were this and that I didn't like and was disappointed by, and then they give it a 9 out of 10. Because the 9 out of 10 is basically paid for. It's the same reason that Deathloop got the treatment that it got. I'm trying to point out an inconsistency. This isn't about defending The Last of Us. This is about pointing out this is not the way to review games. Like, we're going to start to run to these outlets and these sources to justify our predetermined conclusions the same way our parents do with their news outlets. And yeah, that's a deep cut, but I'm saying it. That's what I think's coming. Gaming is becoming a polarized, partisan environment where you're going to run to the review outlet that says what you want it to say and be like, yeah, look at my game, 9 out of 10. Look at my game. It's like, yeah, look at that. Last of Us Remake, yeah, 6 and 7s. I told you it was going to suck. It's getting scored lower than the original and the remaster. Yeah, because people are pulling a freaking sleight of hand trick with their reviews. What? The issue is they didn't add stuff to justify a remake tag. Yes, they did. The Last of Us is an amazing game. It's already a 10. The new score should be about what the new release adds. Yes, and you've clearly not read or watched any of the reviews if you think that they didn't add enough to justify the remake tag. That debate's dead and on the floor. There is no debate. You can't read or watch a single one of these reviews and make that claim. Even people that don't like the game, even the people that are giving it a 6 or a 7 out of 10, they would make ribbons of your statement. They would just rip it to shreds. They'd be like, no, it's definitely a remake. It's unbelievable the work that went into this and the result and the quality. It's amazing. Even the people knocking it down a peg for price would not agree with you. They'd be like, no, this is a remake. Like, that opinion, that projected negative, like, axe grinding, it's in tatters on the ground. There's not a review out there you can find to substantiate that viewpoint. Now that the game's out, now that the embargoes have dropped, you can't even attempt to make that argument. You'll look like a fool. Did I not? I think I missed a super chat. No, it was YouTube Lurker. No, it was somebody else. No. EXLs. Oh, no, I got everybody. I was worried. AOZ Z says, +1 to Lurkers, best show on YouTube. Members up. Thank you. Price is a factor, says Jaeger. It's like shopping for a toaster. One being worth 20, remaster, then the same toaster with some improvements costing 70. Why not save the 50? Yeah, and and I think that kind of lines up with the RoboCop thing that SkillUp talked about. He said it's worth 70 to the people that are hardcore fans, and I wasn't compelled by his argument. What I'm hearing is that the reviewers need to be more clear about what their scores mean, but that's been a problem and it always will be. I can show reviews to prove my point if you are for a reaction. I'm talking about respected outlets, not some guy with a blog. I haven't found any of the major outlets, even YouTubers, that are not beholden to anybody. SkillUp admits in the video he doesn't even like the game and he doesn't even like the combat. And even he had to admit, this is a frickin' remake. This is immaculate work. Here's the thing. I don't care if you can find reviews that prove your point. It's factual that it's a remake. I'm done debating with people who want to be misrepresentative and ignore facts. I don't care to argue with you on that point. It's an invalid argument, and it's a waste of my time. It's a waste of my time. I'm above that argument. It's not even factual. It's not worth it. I might as well argue with a 7-year-old about whether or not cats actually have 9 lives. It's pointless, and it's not rooted in fact. A $5 tip from Devil. I don't know why gamers still want to buy from Naughty Dog after how they treat their employees and hidden agenda. No, I'm done. Thanks for the $5. People support the games because they like it, not because of whatever you think they should or shouldn't do based on your philosophical or political views. Games are successful if they're good, and their games have been very good historically. How they treat their employees, I've not seen much on it, but there's been plenty of game companies and plenty of lawsuits and plenty of investigations, and if that's a problem and needs to be adjusted, well, then let's adjust it. But that doesn't mean you throw the baby out with the bathwater. Like, at most of these companies, the way employees are treated is a C-suite problem, and it's a management problem. And you got hardworking people that pour their heart and soul into a project, and you're like, I'm not going to support it. Why? Because the C-suite guys are bad. Okay, cool. Good work. Good work. Hurt the economic stability and success of a company because of internal problems, which probably leads to downsizing and people losing their jobs. That's what they needed. You really helped them. Good job. It's the difference between doing something that feels good and doing something that does good. There's a giant difference between doing something that feels good and doing something that does good. It feels good to virtue signal boycotting a game because the vice president's mean and did nasty stuff. Okay, do you think everybody that works at that company wants their project to be boycotted so it makes less money, so their margins suffer, so they have to downsize, and their department gets shrunk, and their friend gets fired, or they get fired, and they can't pay their bills? Did you do good, or did you do something that feels good? There's a giant difference between the two, and I see through the veil so clearly now. That distinction is huge. And if you're going to boycott a game because of how they treated their employees, you're not doing good. You're doing something that makes you feel good. I hope the tweet really stroked your ego. I hope the hashtag was cool. The price point should be a con on the game, says Abe. It's like the third release of a variation of this game, with certain aspects being reused. It shouldn't be the price of a full game. Make it 50 to 60 instead. I said earlier, I'm torn on this, Abe, because I still think they should have priced it at 50 or 60, but Sony's wanting the optics on it because it's a PS5 only title. And I'm telling you, they want that optics. They want their consumers to be like, listen, man, when they put in the work, when they deliver a PS5 only title, it's way up here. It's at this level, $70. I don't agree with it, but I can see why they did it. They want pricing parity on that platform. They want all of their PS5 only titles to be at that point. That's what they want. It's a business value optics decision. You know? If someone will pay 50, then that same person will pay 70. $20 makes no difference. That's probably a very good point, Frostbite. They probably did market analysis and they thought the average person that's going to consider buying this will buy it at the 70. If you're just tuning in, The Last of Us Part 1 reviews are in, and they are, some of them, there's a big disparity on score. Like, some of them are saying nothing but good things, and then they knock the score down to like a 6 out of 10, and it's the price point. And the reason I'm saying I told you so in the thumbnail is, I said the other day, I modified my position. I said, listen, this is a remake. It's not a remaster. You know, I actually really think this game is stellar. The work they've done is stellar. It's worthy of being called a remake. But I said, this thing probably should not be $70. I said, I think it's going to be a huge issue when it comes out. And now this is all we're hearing about. Like, it's overshadowing, in the dialogue, in the market, the price point's overshadowing all the good work they did. What, according to you, differentiates a remaster and a remake? I believe your exceptions from expectations, maybe, or definitions of a remake are different. I broke this down the other day quite logically. And I even pushed out a short today about it, okay? And I broke down the massive mistake people make in this equation, okay? This is the mistake that you make. A remaster improves resolution, maybe textures, maybe lighting, and the game generally just looks better, okay? That's the result of a remaster. Here's the thing. That's also the result of a remake, but a remake goes beyond that. They don't just raise resolution, texture resolution, lighting. They don't just make the game look better. So one of the significant problems in this debate is people go, look, it looks better, therefore it's a remaster. And I'm like, hang on, pump the brakes. That's not how you come to a conclusion. That's not how you come to a conclusion. You come to a conclusion by analyzing all of the parts and then saying, what is this? Right? Like, if you repaint my house and you're like, yeah, you just repainted my house. But if you completely rebuild my house and at the end of rebuilding it, you need to paint it, you can't be like, yeah, see, he just repainted it. No. Both actions have the same result, but one has done significantly more. And that's the big problem in that debate. It's why I don't even like having the debate anymore. Because the people claiming it's just a remaster, they are intellectually inaccurate. Like, they lack credibility because their cherry looks better, therefore it's a remaster. It's like, hang on, that's not fair. You're ignoring the entire AI system's been rebuilt. The entire combat system has been rebuilt. Characters and their animations and the objects in the world have been rebuilt. The lighting has been rebuilt. You're ignoring all of that. It would be like the construction crew coming to me and saying, listen, bro, we didn't just repaint your house. We stripped it down to the foundation. We rebuilt all of the framing of every room. We added modern amenities. You've got internet in every room. You've got motorized windows. You've got screens and projectors. We did a mountain of work to rebuild your house. We didn't just repaint it to make it look nicer. And if I was like, nope, as far as I can tell, if it's just looking from the outside in, man, it's just been repainted. They'd be like, bro, no. The combat system wasn't rebuilt. That's one of the main negatives, SEU pointed out in a review. Other people say otherwise. The combat system has been rebuilt. That's not true, Chris. That's false. Watch SkillUp's review, and he outlines all these features that they added. The combat system's completely different. There are things you can do now that you could not do in the previous game. With aiming, with movement, with picking things up, with combat, with melee. That is an actual, provable, demonstrable lie if someone says the combat system's not been rebuilt. That's false. Watch SkillUp's review. He outlines all of the things. Yeah, I know. There was a blip. Of course. We're having a huge stellar day and some big, huge blip. Blip 2? Is it still blipping? Is it real bad? Should I restart? We back, though, just a refresh? I wondered what happened. We spiked up to like 580 views. Okay. Guys, if that happened, that's not me. That's something going on with YouTube periodically. They're trying to do stuff on the front end of YouTube, and it periodically causes buffering, blips, or audio glitches. Please don't think that's me. You just have to refresh. I run a tight ship. My bitrate, I've got my task manager open. I heavily monitor my stream's quality. That is not me when that happens. Some people didn't even experience the blip or the glitch. It's not everybody. So, blip 1 is bigger than my ego, but we're golden now. Okay. Okay, that's it. I'm off lurk mode. They literally said they rebuilt almost the whole freaking game from the ground up. Exactly, Murph. It's like, I don't care what you think. They factually did it. Don't you understand? That's the problem with the entire debate. It doesn't matter what you think. That's not factual. If you play through the combat and you say, and this is something that Yang Ya said. Yang Ya said, I understand why they didn't put the prone in. He said, but the lack of dodge leaves it in some of those unpleasant, more dated feelings in the combat. He said that. So, yes, there are elements of the combat that are faithful to the original game because it is just a remake. It's not a brand new game. Okay? It's things that are faithful to the original game. Can't dodge. And Yang says he feels they should have at least put the dodge in. He says he understands why they didn't put prone, but he felt that dodge would have alleviated some of those. This game still has some rough, dated edges. But that doesn't mean that they didn't rebuild it. Oh, that was a frame drop. Yeah, that was a frame drop. I see that on Task Manager. That was an after blip. Yeah, I don't know what is happening on YouTube today. This has been one of our biggest days without a live event, and YouTube is just having a problem. It's not on my end, I promise you that. It's so frustrating. The ingest servers must be going through something today. It's the ingest servers. They're having some issues. We dropped 426 frames, and I never drop frames. The problem about any debate nowadays are people for some reason believe they can have their own facts. Well, you have your facts and I have mine. It's rebuilt from the ground up, but it's rough. Shouldn't be rough if it's completely rebuilt. No, hey Jay, no, you're misinterpreting what has been said. They rebuilt the AI system from the ground up, and they rebuilt the combat systems, and they offer a litany of combat options that were not in the previous game. You can make your aim more sticky, right? You can do things with collectibles. You can do things with visuals. You can make the combat a lot more fluid. You can do things with how the melee operates as well, right? So that doesn't mean that you're suddenly going to have those rough edges of combat smoothed over. And what Yang was saying is, he says sometimes the lack of dodge means you see the attack coming and you simply can't get out of the way. That's a more dated feeling thing. that doesn't suddenly mean they did a bad job rebuilding it. Does that make sense? It's like that's an import from the original game. That's just a part of it. You're sometimes going to get stuck in that situation. Yeah, they brought over Last of Us 2 shooting mechanics. The AI is not brain dead anymore. Yo, Mr. Muggle Gaming re-upped to a tier 2. Do you guys know what helps the channel when we have blips? Do you know what helps? Smashing the like button and gifting members. Can you get me to 400 likes? Hitting the like button is free, and if you've been considering gifting members, now would be a great time, because the people that stuck around and stayed through the blips, they're probably pretty faithful viewers. Let's get some gifted members going. That typically helps us kind of turn things around, because YouTube's like, oh, hey, that video is popping, even though we just had some pretty big viewership loss. There's no dodge. Yeah, there was never dodge in the original game. There's a dodge and a prone. There's a dodge and a prone in The Last of Us 2. And bringing prone to this game wouldn't have made sense because the environments aren't built for it. There's no tall grass, right? Like, yeah, if we hit 1,500 members, my wife and I have to play genital jousting on Friday night. Yeah, like what Eugene is saying is maintaining nuance, and like I think we can make fair criticisms, right? Arguably a dodge should have been included because of all the AI changes. If you're going to make the AI smarter and more responsive, well then empower me to, to get away if I need to. Yo, T-Bone jumping in and gifting those memberships. Guys, if you're having trouble claiming gifted memberships, you may have to click on the join button and then the 3 dots at the top and turn off allow gifts, back out, go back in and turn it back on again. You may have to do that. Click join, 3 dots at the top, and then go to your gifting options. Turn it off, save it, go back in, turn it back on again. Are you saying you aren't normally genital jousting on a Friday night? Yeah, I'm not. If they didn't put the effort in adding meaningful mechanics, I think that makes people believe it's a cash grab. Nobody would complain if they had to change level design a little. But again, you're doing exactly what the reviewers are doing. You're taking one point and you're overstating it. They didn't add any meaningful mechanics? You mean like the shooting mechanics from The Last of Us 2? You mean like rebuilding the entire AI system? Like importing the Last of Us 2 gun crafting stuff? What are you talking about? They did do a bunch of meaningful mechanical changes. They didn't give you dodge. So that's an indictment of the entire remake. Again, that's a cheap shot. That's just like the people saying, oh man, this is a fantastic game. Oh, it's so good, but price, cheap shot, bam, drop the price. I've had like 4 blips and a ton of buffering. I'm 3.5 minutes behind. It's making the live stream almost unlurkable. I know this isn't your fault, Lono, but geez, bro, this is painful. I am sorry, I have no control over it. Yo, T-Bone's gifted memberships went to Sean and Geek to Sneak. There are more left to grab. A 5-month milestone from a man, Mr. Muggle. Let's go. Membership train and a like train. Let's go. Yeah, we are absolutely hemorrhaging viewers because of whatever the frick YouTube's doing. It is so dadgum aggravating that I show up every day and put on a good show and they can't do the fricking bare minimum. Pull your pants up and get to work, YouTube. Jiminy fricking Christmas. Nothing worse than working my tail off and having basic things not work. I just need to stream to not mess up. That's all I need. I need bare minimum. That's all I need. I need bare minimum. I don't need any special treatment, please. Yo, Mithrax had a gifted membership. Go to Chris. Excellent. They're getting grabbed, guys. Grab those gifted memberships. Here I am waiting for it to drop on PC. Yo, a gifted went to Zach from T-Bone. Which outlets get praised it high but scored it middling? Trying to find one and I'm not seeing this. Oh, you know what's funny? The major outlets didn't do it, Graydon, and I'll tell you why they didn't. Because they would have gotten called on it. It's people on it's the review outlets on Metacritic doing it. The user score on Metacritic's not there yet. It's just the review outlets that got the game early, right? Yo, another one went from Mithrax. Ghostface got a membership. They said dodge didn't feel right for Joel. I was gonna buy the remake if it didn't have dodge, but after the dev gameplay video, I saw the improvements and then I pre-ordered. Can't wait for midnight tonight. Thank you, Speedster. Yo, T-Bone had one go to Hawk. T-Bone had one go to Unwound Admin. Guys, keep grabbing those memberships. Crusadus got one from Mithrax. More memberships are going out. I guarantee you we could hit 400 likes. We only need 9 more. Remember what happened to Stevivor? It's the rinky-dink outlets. Yeah. Listen, if I'm Naughty Dog, I would take notice. I would take notice. Eugene says, F it. 15 out of 10. This lets me experience a masterpiece narrative between 2 games, definitive editions, back-to-back, right before God of War. Personal bias scores for the win. Yeah, there you go. 15 out of 10. I think you're going a little too hard into people for what is a perception issue. It's not incumbent on the consumer to see a total value on a blank. Well, but sinking ship, to argue that people are reading reviews and seeing scores and they use that as a metric of whether or not they should buy, but they're not watching videos that outline all of the reasons that the thing is a remake, that just doesn't make any sense to me. Sir Wallaby was gifted a membership from Mithrax. Thank you for doing that. Sir Mithrax and T-Bone, so generous. IGN always doing this, so anything. Yeah, I mean, there have been plenty of people who have either left IGN or exposed IGN for literally getting paid for reviews, so you've always got to take their reviews with a grain of salt. We'll know in a few weeks how it's selling. People will probably lie about it then too, but we will have the numbers at some point. Yeah, on how commercially successful it is, for sure. For sure. Oh, we've got artwork now. Hang on. Copy image, gaming topics. Hang on. I'm just saving that for later so I can use a reverse image search on it. That argument is what? That these consumers are completely uninformed but also split hairs on the definition of a remaster and remake? That's what I'm saying, Omar. Like, for somebody to say, I'm going to go read reviews and decide whether or not to get this, and price point is definitely a factor in reviews. So when they see 6 out of 10, like, they're assuming that means that, you know, the game is overpriced. I was like, okay, but who in the world does that? And number 2, as you're saying, they're uninformed. They're not paying attention to videos, but they're gonna draw a nuance and a difference between a remaster and a remake. Like, who are these consumers? If you're gonna sit here and harshly, strongly, defiantly argue on YouTube, Reddit, or wherever that it's not a remake, then you are either ignorant, uninformed, or grinding an axe. There's plenty of videos to substantiate this thing being a remake. So yeah, it's like it doesn't make any sense. Who are these people? Yo, Distorted Sama hitting a 13-month milestone. I still don't think it should have been 70. I don't think it should have been 70 either. While I understand the decision for it to be 70, I don't agree with it. Yo, the Skeletor shirt is sick. Thank you. Quiet Shy, one of our mods, just used the shirt command. I'm wearing a Skeletor shirt from 80s Tease. This is from their cartoon collection. Use code LONO. That's what everybody calls me around here, Lono. Use code LONO for 30% off over at 80stees.com. They're one of our sponsors. This is the 3rd game of the same game. They should have done a game something with the gameplay. A lot of people expected that with the remaster. But they did something with the gameplay. I didn't think people are splitting hairs much. I think dudes are simply completely wrong and insist it's something it isn't. It feels like a remaster is clown shoes, not hair shop talk. Right. We're better off if people stop speaking for others and projecting their own opinions on some made-up average consumer. Abe says, it's too expensive for what it is. Not changing my mind on that. 2, it shouldn't be knocked so hard on reviews for the price. Take off 1 out of 10, if anything. Yeah, like I said, I could see somebody saying, this thing's immaculate, it's beautiful, it's a triumph, 9 out of 10. However, I think 70 is steep for a remake. I'm dropping my score to an 8.5. Like, I wouldn't even care about that. I'm like, oh, that's fair. That's fair. The price has a negative impact on your value perception, on your value conclusion, and your value assessment. Yeah. Price is going to have a factor. Yeah. Like, that's totally fine. That's totally fair. It is. I'm not going to hold that against anybody. You know? We have a short that's doing very, very well today about this. I kind of strategically pushed out a short about this topic on the same day that we're streaming about it. If you came over from the short or you subscribed because of the short, thank you so much for doing that. We also push our short form content out on Instagram and other platforms and stuff if you use those platforms. We're Reforge TV everywhere else. Our Discord servers, Reforge TV, Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram are also Reforge TV if you use those platforms. Let's see. Yo, here comes some more memberships. We had one a little bit ago. I Am Legend got one from Mithrax. Thank you guys so much. The gifted members kind of happen throughout the stream now. Gaines and David Kirby got one from Mithrax. Guys, continue to claim those gifted members. If you can hear my voice and you haven't gotten a gifted member yet, click the join button, or you can click the $ and go into the membership menu. When the membership menu opens, click those 3 dots at the top and go to your gifted options. If it's not checked to allow gifts, check it. If it's already checked, uncheck it, back out, go back in and turn it back on again. That's helping some people get the gifted members. Haley says, I think reviews have changed. I remember back in the day, they had review categories like graphics, playability, value for money. Right. Haley, imagine them doing that. Graphics, playability, combat, story, whatever. And then they have the price point down at the bottom. And imagine a video game getting 8, 9, 8, 9, and then they're like, oh, I'm gonna give its price a 6. I'm taking points off for that. And that 6 pulled the whole average down to 6. You'd be like, wait a minute. I'm not a mathematician, but that doesn't feel like a just score. You gave it 9s and 8s and a 7. Like in all these categories, very good scores. It gets a 6 in this category because you think it's overpriced. And that 6 pulls the whole average down to a 6. What? Like, you'd be like, that's not a just score. TJ Rage with a $2 tip. Where's Factions? They took Factions and they're building what I think is going to be a battle royale, which will probably be free. Guessing on my part, will probably be free. By breaking it up, it prevents one factor from smashing the overall. Agree with you. Yeah, it just doesn't make any sense. A scoring rubric? That's crazy talk. That means they would have to score the same way for everyone. Abe's on point today. Well done. Well done. There are so many types of reviews. Yo, yes, Liz. I'm so glad to see that, Liz. Good to see you, and glad you got a membership. Liz got a membership. Cisco and Spriggle got a membership. Guys, make sure you're watching the live broadcast. We have had some blips and some stutters, so make sure you're all the way fast-forwarded to the live front of the wave, so you're getting that rich, immediate interaction from me, okay? No doubt Factions will be free. Would be a huge mistake if it wasn't. Yeah, if they make Factions free, then there's no complaint about this game not having it. They're giving you the DLC Left Behind baked into this. So, Factions being free. Where does that put us on membership count? Let's check. We have a 1,500 member goal in September for my wife and I playing Genital Jousting. The 2,000 member goal is still there for a Star Wars Episode 1 watch party. So you guys can help with that. We are at 1,213 members, so we're back in the 1,200s. Thank you to all the generous gifters. If you haven't got a gifted membership, listen, if you can afford the $5 a month, if you're here all the time, if you consume my content with that amount of regularity, $5 a month, if you can throw that down and become a member, get involved. Get in our members-only Discord. We do members-only talk shows every day, so you're getting extra content every day of the week. And we're going to start launching new content if we get 100 Tier 2 members, which I actually think we might have bumped the Tier 2 number up a bit. We were at like 69, which nobody wanted to move it, and we won 100. We're at 73. We're at 73. We now only need 27 people to upgrade to Tier 2, and we'll start kicking out more content for Tier 2 and above. Like vlogging content, me playing like a hard game for 20 minutes and getting angry kind of content. Tiers for Tier 2 is what we were calling it. Yo, greetings, Michael. I don't know if all of mine were claimed yet. I think there's like one more. Yeah, guys, make sure you're claiming the gifted members. I love the game. It's visually stunning and as close to perfect as I've seen it. I give it 4 pizzas out of delicious. I feel like some people are forgetting that Naughty Dog wasn't the studio initially making the remake. Sony is to blame for not having certain features. Wait, where are you getting this info, Filta? Where are you getting this info? The problem with the price as scoring metric is it's so subjective. You have people like me who's looking at the total amazing experience, and I begin tomorrow with 2 games. You have people introducing... there's second part to that message, I imagine. Sven says, I wonder how often and in what capacity those reviews are paid. Alana Pierce did a stream about her time at IGN and said reviews were never paid for while she was there. I thought that was one of the reasons that she left, was that people were getting paid. Or that she was hearing rumors of it or something. You're saying that she said nobody was paid while she was there? I got a different summary of her exodus than that. It was leaked a month ago, back when the remake first hit the news scene. Oh, it was leaked that another company was working on it? Interesting. Do you think the 89 on Metacritic's too low? It still seems good to me. Okay, Crusadus, good question. I think the 89 on Metacritic is being pulled down by scores that I don't think are valid. It's scoring lower than the remaster in the original game. And if you look at all the people giving it 6s and 7s, they give it a glowing review, and then they chop it to a 6 or a 7 because of the price. So that 89 is not indicative of the game's quality. Think about it like this. Do you know why it's stupid to knock a game's score down because of the price? Let me explain to you why it's stupid. Because let's say in 6 months, they drop the price or they do a sale. Now that Metacritic total is permanently sullied, and it's not a good indicator of the game's quality. It's indicative of what people thought at the time that it launched and the price. Imagine if when No Country for Old Men debuted in the theaters, there was some weird thing going on with ticket prices and they were double. And for whatever reason, that affected the review scores of No Country for Old Men. And then 5 years later, the pricing of those things stabilizes, and now you can get the DVD or rent, and everyone's like, this is an amazing movie. And you look back, and you're like, what the heck? Why'd this thing score so low? Oh, well, you have to remember that at that point in time, people really took issue with the ticket prices. So you don't have a transcendent score or summary. It's not transcendent. In 3 or 4 years, we're going to look back and wonder, do you guys remember? People will remember, but it's like, why is it scored like that? Oh, well, because at the time, people took issue with the price point. Oh, so it's not a transcendent or concrete representation of the product. It's a contextual representation of what people thought of the price at the time. That's one of the significant problems with it. It's not a reliable, as Sinos is saying, it's not a reliable historical record. It's contextual to consumer perception of price at the time. That's not an assessment of its quality. Imagine you launch a vacuum cleaner, and because of inflation, your vacuum cleaner launches at a higher price point than other vacuum cleaners. And people bash you on the scores for it. Great vacuum cleaner. This thing's amazing. This is the definitive vacuum cleaner that you should be buying right now, but they lowbrow the score. And then a couple years later, things stabilize and you're able to bring the price back down to parity with the market, and people are like, but why is the score so low? Well, at the time, we had some issues with price. So it's not a transcendent score or an indicative thing of what the thing is worth. The value assessment of the quality of the vacuum cleaner, this is an expression of people's frustration with the price point at the time that it launched. It's unreliable score at that point. That would not happen as it's a new vacuum. Yes, pick apart an analogy instead of seeing the problem with what that would do to that product. You're not understanding the analogy, Sichuan. The idea would be in 3 or 4 years, people would look back and be like, well, that must not be a very good vacuum cleaner. No, the score got lambasted because of a price point problem, not because of the value of the item. It's not it has no transcendence. To transcend and to be meaningful and reliable beyond right now, there's no transcendence. Every product is reviewed, including price. I'm not debating that. I'm debating whether or not it should have the primacy that it has. Should you be able to give a glowing review and then knock it down to a 6 out of 10 because of price? What I'm saying is it harms the consensus score and it makes it unreliable for the consumer. If in 6 months the game is knocked down in price, are all these people going to go rushing back and change their review scores? Oh yeah, it's an 8 out of 10 now. As Eugene said, some of the 8s out of 10s were bringing up price. So those, I guess, would be 9s out of 10s. They're going to go back and adjust all their reviews. Oh, well, yeah, that was the only thing I had a problem with. Everything else is praiseworthy. Yeah, it's now an 8, 9 out of 10. All of a sudden, its scores go back up. That's why dragging a score down that dramatically for price, it doesn't make sense. It creates a contextual review, a chronological contextual review, instead of an actual review of the product itself. Okay, that's an argument I can get behind. Okay, I feel like that's a pretty good, I feel like that's a decent argument that I've made this morning. I feel like that's kind of compelling. That you take the score and it's now corrupted. It's now locked in time. It's not transcendent. I agree with the issue, but then what is the solution to the price problem? How should they convey their point about price? I think Hilly brought up a great suggestion. I think if you had like 6 have you ever seen, they do this with some things on they do this with some things on Amazon. You can give it different 5-star ratings for different categories. They should have to give it, 10 categories, and that's where you get your average from. So if they're giving it 7, 8, 9, 8, 8, 7, 8, like good scores all the way down, and then you get to price and they knock it down a little bit, you would just average all those categories. And obviously they could be scummy and they could be like 8, 7, 8, 9, 8, 7, and then they get the price and they give it a 1 to drag the score down. Well, that's somebody that you would say you're not using the metric appropriately. You're trying to pull the score down. That's kind of scummy, right? I would imagine the average reviewer wouldn't do that because it would make them lose credibility. You think it's fair to give a game 8s, 9s, and 7s the whole way down and then a 1? Like, come on. The Emperor would have no clothes at that point. You'd see right through them. You'd be like, come the frick on. You are trying to pull this game's score down. That's how scoring should work, because then what you would end up with is a more average assessment of the game. Combat, yeah, great, 8. Graphics, oh my gosh, it's a 9. AI, it's a 7. They updated the AI, but I don't feel like it's that great because now I don't have dodge, and the AI ends up being a sticking point. I'm making that up. I'm just imagining somebody like giving varying degrees of score. And then they get to price, and they're like, I don't think it's worth 70. I'm going to give them like a 5 or a 6 here. That would pull the average down, but it would only pull the average down by like a little bit. It would drop it from, a 9 to an 8.5 or something, or an 8.5 to an 8. It wouldn't be so drastic. So then the game probably wouldn't be getting an 89. It'd be getting like a 93 or a 92 or something. Anytime it's above that 90, people are like, okay, that game must have did a good job. But now we have this locked-in-time representation of, why on earth did that remake get an 89? I heard nothing but good things about it. Well, a bunch of reviewers took issue with the price, and it drug the review score down. What the frick? The price, it's $50 now. It's been on sale for a couple of years. I don't understand. Yeah, well, that's how they scored it. So it invalidates the very structure and the nature of reviewing the game based on like multiple metrics or multiple things. An accurate review will never mention prices, says YouTube Lurker. The review of the game should never ever be invalidated by the first 20% of the sale. Price has no place in reviews. That's another way of saying it. Exactly, YouTube Lurker. So let me get this straight. You gave the game a 6 out of 10, right? Yeah. Well, You gave it nothing but praise, and then the only issue you took with was the price, right? Yeah. Well, they just put it on sale. Does the sale invalidate your review? Oh, well, yeah, exactly. All it takes is one sale and your review is invalid? There was controversy around a pitch for Days Gone 2 and how Sony would use their first-party studios, and they didn't want The Last of Us Part 1. Oh, and they went with The Last of Us Part 1 instead of Days Gone 2. That's unfortunate, because Days Gone is good property. It's good property. It's good IP. It's an excellent game. That's one that, Derek, I bet you would like Days Gone. I bet you would. That's a very good game. Never said it should. I was telling Abe not to waste his time. What did Abe say? I just hope Sony learns from this experience when they remaster the remake in 2 years. I sure hope it's not 70. It's the same conversation we had 2 days ago. Because it's the same debate, my opinion won't change. I don't understand. You're pushing the same point the other day. People don't like that. People don't like when they have opinions, and unless proved otherwise, those opinions don't change. Days Gone was a masterpiece. I think Days Gone looks good, just a bit burned out by zombies. Oh, if you're burned out by zombies, then stay away from it for a little while. It doesn't feel like a traditional zombie game, though. It doesn't. It's got more of this, because there's a lot of them, and they're fast. They go down a little bit easier, because there's more of them, obviously. So it's not this, gotta land the headshot, one grabbed you, like, it's not like that. It's more of an action-oriented zombie game. I think it's excellent. I wish I would have had time to play the whole thing. The emotion, I'm telling you, I think that game does the best job with conveying human emotion in the scenes. Probably up there with this game, with Last of Us Part 1, the remake. There are scenes where they encapsulate someone's emotions about something. There's a scene where the main character has to pull his gun on someone, and you know that he doesn't want to, and he doesn't say anything. He conveys, the conflict on his face. It is beautifully done. It is marvelous. That opening sequence, the opening story, how they set it up in Days Gone, that part right there, I couldn't believe it. I could not believe how good it looked. I was like, this is amazing mocap. Some of the best I've ever seen. Days Gone does not get enough praise. It really doesn't. It's such a bummer that game launched and was a buggy mess, because it really hurt its reception, and then it came to PC like however long year later. Oh, and it got thrown to PS Plus, and everybody started playing it, and they're like, this game's amazing. Why did nobody tell me about this game? Yeah, it launched buggy, and that's all anybody remembered, and it is a phenomenal game. It's so unfortunate. It doesn't. It's criminally underrated, and it's on the devs. Obviously, they launched a game with bugs that overshadowed its reception. The further this conversation has developed, says Hilly, I have come to think that price should not be a factor in the product review. Value is too subjective and really not part of the game's quality and experience at all. For someone only buying one game a year, it's important, but they will decide on quality and more carefully, I would imagine, but it's outside of the game code and subject to change. That is exactly right. That's why I said a little bit ago, Hilly, it's external to the game. It's external to it, which locks it in time. The minute it goes on sale, the minute the price drops, the minute it's on PS Plus or whatever, everyone's going to look back and be like, man, oh man, why does this thing got an 89? I don't understand. What the 89 is probably going to come down. It'll probably drop to an 88 or an 87. And then the user scores are going to be a joke on Metacritic. This thing's going to get obliterated. It's going to get review bombed. If this thing has higher than a 5, on Metacritic, I'll be shocked. Dollars to donuts. I put money on the table. The Last of Us Remake gets absolutely shredded on Metacritic. It's going to have like a 5. There'll be so many zeros. This game sucks. It's just a remaster. Not worth the price. Doesn't look any different. I bet they don't open user scores. Yeah, if it gets higher than a 5, I'll be freaking shocked out of my chair. It will get obliterated. I don't even trust user scores on Metacritic anymore. I don't. I trust Steam way more than I trust Metacritic. The Metacritic user scores are it's just a dadgum tragedy every time. Just 0, 0, 0, 0. Just it gets nailed. And then people that like the game go on there and they try to combat it with 10, 10, 10. It's just stupid. It's just a dadgum battleground of nonsense. Yo, it's good, Pugs. Last of Us is an amazing game. I want to play the remake, but I'm not touching it until it's at $20. Cheapers, that's low, you Pugs. Can't trust user scores anymore because of bombing. Yeah, review bombing. Like, Metacritic needs to get control of that, because like they're kind of becoming a former shell of themselves, because it's like, why would I come here and read this? Why would I come here and read this? It's drivel. It's basically a bunch of Reddit drones and angry gamer bros, duking it out with review scores. It's freaking stupid. Like the last couple times we've gone there and been like, let's check out the user scores, and I'm like, oh my gosh, why are the user scores so much lower than the official critics? And people are like, well, it got review bombed. And I'm like, oh. It's like, what the frick good is this website now? It's their own fault. It's their own fault. They don't make you verify purchase. Now, I'm not saying that would be easy to do. I don't necessarily even know how they would do that aspect of review scoring, but it's just a dadgum joke. It's like, make them sync it with their account or something. Is there a way to do that? Like sync it with their Steam account, PlayStation account? I don't know. That might be too much to ask. It might literally be a problem they don't have a good solution to. So maybe I'm taking Metacritic to task and it's not fair, but I don't know, man. The only review bomb I thought was fair play was Diablo Immortal. The only reason I don't agree with that is because I don't think that's why something should have a low score. It shouldn't have a low score because it virally and viscerally got attacked. It should have a low score because people went and ripped it up for the right reasons. Right? I don't think we achieve anything by being like, when you think a game is really bad and has crossed a line, then yeah, go review bomb it. You know what I'm saying? I know you're not saying that, Hilly, but you kind of are saying that. You're kind of saying, if you feel a game has crossed a far enough line or done something that's bad enough, yeah, then go review bomb it. We are almost getting every single person to click on this video today from their homepage. We're not getting a lot of you clicking through search results or suggest. So if I was on your YouTube homepage today, thank you so much for doing that. Welcome on in. Those of you that click subscribe and you're joining in the conversation, we greatly appreciate that. Greatly appreciate that. In my opinion, this cracked out nerd is my mood on the daily. LOL, what? I'm getting weird comments on the Last of Us short. I keep notifications on. No, but like new people are coming in today. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. What is this that you're showing me? Forge beta. Wait. That roadmap hit today? I thought that was next week. I thought they were doing that. Aren't they doing a stream next week, Paul? I think Remakes full price is fine, but not Remaster, says Eugene. You were, says Jay, because I never heard of you previously. I only joined because I expected someone to be trolling the game like usual, and I was surprised pleasantly when you weren't. Oh, well, thank you. I appreciate that. Listen, if you're new, and this might be one of the first times you've ever clicked on my streams, jolly good show. Thank you, Lufi. You might be like, wow, this guy gets This guy gets kind of hot. He kind of raises his voice a lot. That's just part of the show. I get ramped, I get animated, I get passionate. I think it makes for better television than me sitting here going like, that's a very valid point. Here's what I think. Like, it's just in my nature. It's in my personality. And you might have noticed as well, I'm safe for work. Like, I'm not sitting here swearing up a storm. I'm also doing my absolute best not to call names, because sometimes I want to call people dum-dums or liars, because people can say really dumb or inaccurate, dishonest things. And we concluded that it's not worth doing that. It's really hard not to do that, but it makes sense to not do it. So today I've tried to do my absolute best to be like, what you're saying is a misrepresentation. What you're saying is not accurate. I'm trying my absolute best to not do that because it kind of pulls the content down. We like having spirited debates here, right? Spirited debates. Oh crap, that did drop today. I thought that was all next week. Season 3 got delayed. Jiminy freaking Christmas, Halo. It's great. I like the fact that you aren't just going with the popular narrative because everybody's trashing the game. We need more people who think for themselves. Well, I appreciate that. Thank you. And your completion percentage would be up top with your name before you could submit a review score. So we'd all know going in if you have a clue. They delayed Season 3 to March 23rd. Oh my gosh. What is that? Is that an 11-month season? Not March 23rd, March 23. Oh, I'm sorry, March of next year. Sorry. Sorry. Yo, Mithrax just gifted 5 more members. Click allow gifts or click the join button and then click the 3 dots at the top of the thing and turn your gifting options off and back on again if you need to. You need to set it off and back out and go back in. We got 5 new memberships. Isn't that going to end up being almost an entire year-long season? When did the most recent season start? Golly mother. Leave Papa Halo alone. Oh, I'm getting the bat. That's our lead tomorrow, I think. If that's not the lead, then maybe the Assassin's Creed game is. Getting the bat, boys. It's time to get Lucille. It's essentially a soft reboot if they're waiting this long. Right, Sinos? Like, what the frick? Here they go. Gifted members are going. Raven Health and Lee Brown got 2 of the 5 members. Oh, Lone Wolf started in May. I'm sorry. May to March. So it's going to end up being like a 10-month season. Yo, more of them are going out. Eddie got one. Mystified got one. Joshua Taylor got one. All gifted members are gone. They're all gone. You guys think we can hit? I bet you if we hit 1,350 members today, we can get another 100 tomorrow. And then I'll count anybody who converts to tier 2 as 2. And I'll see if you guys can't get genital jousting this week. I want to see 1,500 members total. But if you guys can get us really, really close, I'll count the tier 2 upgrades. It got delayed, but it will only be 3-month seasons. I will do my absolute best to be fair. To Halo. But if you go with Assassin's Creed, don't use that image that's going around. Folks are getting DMCA'd. Oh my gosh, are you serious, Barrier? What is genital jousting? I'll tell you when you're older, Hannah. It's sort of an introductory conversation into like how babies are made. So I'll tell you when you're older. Why would you believe anything they say about what they are going to do in the future? Says Zubair. A 10-month season is the industry standard, not the gaming industry. Yes, some of Bend is not working on Days Gone 2. That doesn't mean Days Gone 2 was scrapped for The Last of Us. I think Days Gone 2 is going to happen. I think Days Gone 2 is going to happen. That was funny. Thank you, Oscar. Thank you for sending all the gifts too, Oscar. We thank you in the Discord, but I want to thank you on the stream. We do have an Amazon wish list. I almost never mention it. My wife puts stuff on there for the kiddos. A lot of it's for their school because they're homeschooled. They're now doing a co-op as well. They're doing like a thing with other students that they're loving. They're absolutely loving it. So they kind of get the in-classroom feel as well as, you know, getting the education at home. And I really appreciate it. Some of you guys go absolutely bonkers and buy stuff on there for the kiddos. It's not for me. I think there might be 2 items on there for me. So thank you to anybody who does that. Ubisoft turns the DMCA strikes as Assassin's Creed image leaks become a flood. Why, at this point, just let it go? It's over. The image is out there. Yeah, if they're DMCAing, Sven, that's the official title, yeah, which is why I didn't even say it. I'm not even going to risk it. Yeah, Streisand effect. Like, DMCA strikes are pretty serious. That's not a takedown request. That's a dadgum strike. Hopefully Days Gone 2 does happen. My only hope is that people support the movie in order to increase the likelihood. Unfortunately, Jeff Ross and John Garvin won't be involved. That's unfortunate. I think it's funny that Sony wants to do a live-action movie or series of Days Gone, but they didn't do a sequel. Achieve seasonality. Get our players more of what they want and get it to them faster and with greater consistency. I'll look at the wish list tomorrow. I get paid. Haven't been able to look at it lately. I'll be honest, Sorcerer. I don't draw a lot of attention to it because, to be quite honest, it's a great way to bless my family and my kiddos. But I want to see that member count go up, baby. That's all that matters to me right now. Business plan between here and the end of the year is 2,000 members. I want to see that be our membership floor. I want more people that don't have a membership to be convinced that it's worth $5 a month. Gifted members is a great way to get them to sample it and try it out and see, like, hey, an extra daily talk show is great. Hey, those Friday night streams are really hilarious. Even if you can't be here for the Friday night streams, you can watch the past broadcast. So the game plan between now and the end of the year is I want to see that 2,000 membership floor. Like, I need that. Everything else is doing what we want. You guys are buying coffee. You're being awesome. We're evolving the coffee, better bags with the Frickmas blend in the holiday season. Those will be here probably November. So, you know, we're very pleased with everything. But that is goal number 1 is membership, membership, membership. If you watch my VODs or you hang out here and you're not a member, I want to know what would make you become one. And if you can't afford it, then I don't need to know about that. That is 100% not a consideration that I have. If you can't afford it, just be loyal, and hopefully the gifteds can pick you up. I'm concerned with the people that are like, yeah, I could throw $5 your way, but I'm not doing it. Okay, what would change that? Because I think YouTube is different. People aren't accustomed to that. They don't think like spending money on YouTube doesn't make sense to them. Well, an extra talk show every day, a Friday night stream with my wife, extra little vlogging uploads. I don't know. What would make you convert? Can't wait for YouTube live streaming to get more features. I know, Hannah. I know. It would really help, I think. Even like, you know how like the super chats and the membership hit in the chat room? I just think the YouTube player, it should splash it up on the screen, and I should just be able to decide where it goes, so I don't have to run anything in OBS. If you guys just became members and like everybody saw it and it was like down in the corner or something, that would, I think, help. I could work with one of those companies that does that does the alerts. I just haven't done it because I'm like, I was doing it with the one company and then they started changing the descriptions of my videos, and I'm like, what are you doing that for? I agree it's embarrassing that Sony denied a sequel, yet they're greenlighting a film. I love Sony, but that's something I've criticized heavily. Maybe it's a holding pattern kind of a thing, Jay. Could be a holding pattern. Let's wait and see how things go, and then we'll greenlight the sequel. That's always possible. This is the issue you're both having. The pitch at Ben failed, right? They were sent to work on the multiplayer and an Uncharted game, inadvertently. The Last of Us Remake was then sent to Naughty Dog. So are they debating that, like, it might be a pedantic debate, but it's a debate nonetheless, that like, did this happen because of The Last of Us? Did the sequel to Days Gone get canceled because of The Last of Us? Is that what's being debated? Yo, Mitchell going big with a $20 member, a 20 gifted membership bomb. Look, tons of people should be able to get in right now. If you see the word allow gifts in the chat, click it. If you've already clicked it and you're not getting memberships, check your gifting settings by clicking the join button. Use the join command and click that link and get into that menu and click the 3 dots at the top and go to your gifting settings and make sure it's on. If it's not on, turn it off, save it, go back in and turn it on again. You should be able to get these gifted memberships. They go out a little bit more spaced out so that it gets talked about a little bit more. They used to all go at the same time, and I think YouTube is experimenting with staggering it. Also, the more often you're here, the more likely you'll get a gifted membership. Some people are getting an email, and they're like, hey, you got gifted a membership. Like, you're not even in the stream. Why? Because they're so loyal. So make sure you're here as often as you can be, and you might get one. Jay says, it's what's being debated, and it's not the case. The remake was in development with Visual Arts while Days Gone 2 was being pitched. The two things are not related. Got it. Thank you, Jay. Yo, Bello, Mark Bent, Robert Standard, and Tinkle Style. Now that's a name. 4 of the 20 are already gone. 4 of the 20 are already gone. 5 of the 20 are gone. Reverence, Jeremy Scalise, Arkham, Voided Reality, Jen A. That makes me sound like Forrest Gump. Jen A. One more member to go, and we'll be halfway through the 20. Guys, if you got a gifted membership, get in our Discord. Our Discord is members only. It'll alert you when I do members only content so you don't miss it. YouTube's not the greatest about that. There's number 10 for Lewis. There we go. KR, Nerd Guy, New Sense, Team Smash. They're going. There's 6 left. 6 memberships left. Thank you so much, Mitchell. So generous. So many gifted members from Mitchell lately. If I cancel mine, how fast can I get a free one? Shut up, Abe. There's 6 of them left. Yeah, the Discord is just discord.gg/ReforgeTV. We're Reforge TV everywhere else. There it is. Jajuan got one. JFWST, Chris Gomez, Kiko Gaming, Bellix had just started hanging out the other day during a Hogwarts stream. Thank you for being here, Bellix. Good to see you get one. There's 1 left. Unless I miscounted, I think there's 1 membership left. If you got a membership, we do an extra members-only talk show every single day. You get extra content every day. It's an extra talk show. We might start doing gameplay in those streams. I don't know. People don't seem to respond as strongly to gameplay as me just sitting here talking, because that's what I'm better at anyway. I'm better at talking. Cyber DNA says unlucky. Quantum Apotheon got the last one. There it is. That's all 20. They're all gone. They're all gone. So either jump in on your own or pray that one of these hyper ridiculously crazy generous people drop another one in the chat. Good to see people who have been heavily engaged today in the discussion and regular names getting those memberships. I love to see that. If we get 1,500 members before Friday night, my wife and I have to play a game she does not want to play. It'll be hilarious. It will be hilarious. Oh my goodness. Kat says, I'll do it. Kat dropping a 20 bomb on the chat. That's a big one. You still have a shot, chat. You still have a shot. Get in here, man. Become a member. Remember, you might have to go into your gifting settings and turn it off and back on again. You do that by clicking join and then the 3 dots, and you'll see gifting settings. Turn it off and back on again. You might have to do that. As in, turn it off, back out so that it saves, and go back in. It's a bummer I have to say that, but it is helping people get memberships. Jay says, same with me. I'm better at just talking games and imparting my knowledge. Unfortunately, nobody cares for that, and my following is minimal. It's a hard business to get into, dude. I've been doing this for 8 years. It's tough. It's extremely tough. Y'all are nuts in a good way, says Zubair. So what's the general consensus? Are we in agreement on the $70 price point? I'm not sure about it. Russell, I'm slicing it this way. I think they should have priced it at 50 or 60. I understand why they didn't, but I don't think review scores should be getting dropped to like a 6 out of 10 after a glowing review just because of the price. So I agree it shouldn't be priced that high, but I don't think that's an indictment of the remake itself. Like, there are glowing reviews that are giving it a 6 because of price. I think that's an overstated criticism. Corey got one of Kat's. Picard, Ugly Nerd, Sav Being, Brett, that's the first 5 gone. J. Coles. They're doing these 4 at a time. Are you guys catching this? Are you guys catching what they're doing? It's 4 at a time. Brett, J. Coles, I Am Skolas, and Combat Pinguino. 4 at a time. They're doing something very, very interesting here. YouTube's fiddling with stuff. Instead of all 20 just going through chat, they're doing them in 4 little 4-person batches. So I wonder if when you do like a 5, that's why it does it like 2 at a time. There's another 4 batch. Look at that. Michael Gaw, Nilo, Rob Clark, Connor. 4. I'm on to you, YouTube. I think YouTube's taking a percentage of the gifted pool and doing them in spurts. So when you do 5, I think they're doing like 2 at a time. When you do 10, I think they're doing like 3 at a time. And 20, they're doing 4 at a time. Somebody drop something bigger than 20. Let's see. No, I'm just kidding. And let's see what happens. Well, when you do 100. Oh my gosh. Okay, so that's 1, 2, 3. That's 12. Here comes 4 more. Oh, there was 5. There was 6. That was 6 that time. Master Chief, Eric, RJ, Alex Hendricks, Krishna, and Gus. So that was... Is that all of them? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That was 6 on top of 12. That's 18. There's 2 left. Yeah, there's 2 left. We need more data. Let's see what happens with 21, then 22. By 100, we'll know. Yes. Thank you again, Kat. Kat's been so generous to this community and to me and to my family for a long time. Ever since we've even moved into our house, she's been super generous. Thank you, Kat. If you guys got a membership again, our Discord's members only. Get in there. Get in there. If you're not a member, you can use our Discord to like get alerts when I go live, but you won't be able to get into the members only rooms or the members only content. Pac-Man on a bike and Rex Vermillion got the final 2 members. There we go. They're all gone. They are all gone. Kat putting hearts in the chat. Appreciate you, Kat. We are at 1242. We're almost halfway to the 1300. But it's more than that. It's not resolution FPS upgrade. It's literally a remake of assets. Particle destruction, lighting. What's Barry talking about? $7 is fine for PS5, 4K 60 FPS extra modes. Add to the replayability. Oh, you're just saying it's even more than that. I understand. Hoop Sacks is all gone, you say? Oh, did I add it wrong? I think they all got grabbed. Poop Sack, I totally fell for it. I was like, I thought you were telling me I added it up wrong. Yo, LOL Poop Sack. He likes to gift members because he makes me say Poop Sack. Guys, grab those memberships. Jiminy Christmas, that's generous. Thank you. Yeah, Gaming Fire. That'll probably be a topic tomorrow. Phil Spencer's commentary. Yeah. Yep. We got Phil Spencer's commentary on some stuff. We got Halo doing stuff. Tomorrow's going to be a good day. Every Friday, I still do my 2 talk shows, and then we do the roundtable, the Reforge roundtable. Yo, Dad Not Good just hit a 9-month milestone renewing his membership. Acts of Eugene. Eugene says, you said scrapped. Stop. Go back and retract the false statement and we can move forward or we're finished. Who are you? Days Gone didn't really fall in any way other than critically. It sold 9 million units. This just wasn't the case for Sony being arrogant. I love Sony. All right, here goes the first couple. Yo, Vigil got one. Merc got one. Oh, only 2 went out that time. 9 million sales doesn't matter if it was for $30 a copy. It did choose you. Yeah, you got one, Vigil. I apologize to chat for this argument. I was immature. What are you talking about? Lono, write a note for yourself so 30 days from now you'll remember why membership dropped by like 300 people. Zubair, I'm telling you. That's why I'm always like really trying to impress on people. If you enjoyed your gifted membership and you can throw $5 my way, do it, man. We need people to convert on their own. We can't live off the generosity of gifteds. That's not reasonable. It isn't reasonable. You know? You got to pick up the membership. If you can, that's the point. I'm not saying that if you know to go panhandling for $5 like and then to give it to me. That's not what I'm saying. In the Way got one. Jeff Warner, Gordo Flacca, Ku Wang, Elaine Serminara, PR Anthony, Chris Surf. That's a big one too. That's a 20 bomb. So that's 2, 4, 6, 8. I think 9 have gone out. Thank you again, Poop Sack. When I'm not poor, I will. Yeah. Lono wants us to go panhandle for membership. Got it. What is panhandling's etymology? Handling a pan? Did they use a pan and like hold it out? Panhandling. Nathan, Sam Mudd, Crotch Gobbler. That's a great username. Drewston, Bakky's Gaming, Robin Davey, Jet Baylord. All grabbed membership. So that's 9, 10, 12, 14, 16. There's 4 left. It's how you got gold out of a river. Oh, yeah, duh. I had an old game called Eureka, and the guy's like down near the river with a pan. I should have been able to figure that one out on my own. Filta says, no, I was not wrong. You aren't taking into account that Naughty Dog took on the remake after Days Gone pitch. That is where Sony's assets went. It was scrapped. Bend is at Naughty Dog now. There's the remaining 4 memberships. Malcolm, my man Loot, my man Black Superman. I love seeing names I recognize. Get a membership. Zavaron Prime. That's all 20 members. You guys are friggin' awesome. We might hit 1,300 today at this rate. 1262. We are at 1,262 members. We might actually hit 1,300 members. You will 100% miss the extra shots you're gifted when your gifted runs out. Oh, Sergio says you will 100% miss all the extras once your gifted runs out. It's worth the 5. Unfortunately, I do not let price affect my review. That was so well done, Sergio. You totally got me. You totally got me. That was very, very well done. Do you guys remember the meme that was like, and for that reason, I'm out? Do you guys remember when people would do that all the time? That was such a fun meme because there were people who were very gifted at it. They would do it at the very end of a paragraph and they would totally get me. It was my favorite. Not to be rude, but when mine runs out, I will renew again. Thank you, Simon. It's the Filter guy. He said Days Gone 2 was scrapped for the Last of Us Remake. None of the reporting says that. I'm done with him. He doesn't, so it doesn't detract anymore. Ben's not at Naughty Dog. Part of Bend is helping with The Last of Us because, shocker, Sony Studios help each other. Bend is working on a different IP. Got it. They are working on a Naughty Dog IP, Uncharted. Where did you get the information that they're working on Uncharted, Filta? Who reported that? Via Wikipedia, panhandling always seemed to involve a container for receiving loose change, so perhaps the term refers to a small handled pan or the container as the pan and the arms holding it. I've always asked for a Lono out emote. Oh, I remember that. Yeah. People wanted a Lono out. I'm out. Yeah, so instead of the one where I'm saying no, just have him saying I'm out. Or like walking through a door. I think Chevy had a really good one, like exiting through a door. It was hard to see it. I didn't like it. It was kind of messy, but he had one. People that review bomb have either never worked at customer service or are a hypocrite. They surely have been upset they received an unreasonable 0 out of 10 on a survey for a minor issue, right? They didn't merge, but they're working on an Uncharted game and also The Last of Us multiplayer. Bend is not working on Uncharted. That was an old pitch that turned into The Last of Us Remake. They are currently working on a new IP. This is literally information reported by Bloomberg. I haven't said a single lie. So Bloomberg has reported that Bend is working on Uncharted. Naughty Dog said they were done with Uncharted. I doubt it. I thought Naughty Dog said that they were not making another Uncharted game. It seems like there's contrary reports in chat right now. It seems like we're getting conflicting reports, sir. We're well on our way to hitting a sub milestone, too. We're well on our way to hitting 18,000 subs. The short's doing very well today as well. Like, everything we're pushing out is just performing. This is so encouraging. Like, we have multiple channels. We have multiple funnels of content. We have an updates channel. We have a first look channel. And, man, you guys have been great. If you support all the channels and you watch all the content, man, we greatly appreciate it. We're getting ready to launch a Reacts channel, Reforge Reacts. We think that that's just an easy thing to do. Not that it's an easy thing to do, but an easy value add, because I like interacting with those videos, and it's hard to do in the live environment, and I like to debate and dialogue. So we think that's a really easy value add to what we do here. Show me where Bend is working on a new IP, and I will humbly agree with you. 2020, Sony Bend literally came out and said they were working on a new IP. A new IP is not Uncharted. Sony Bend, new IP. As of June the 7th, PlayStation Studios boss Herman Hulst previously confirmed that Bend was working on a new IP that builds on the open-world gameplay of Zombie Shooter Days Gone, which was released on the PS4 in 2019. So, homie, that was 3 months ago. PlayStation Studios boss Herman Hulst previously confirmed that Bend was working on a new IP that builds on the open-world gameplay of Zombie Shooter Days Gone. New IP. A Game Informer reported on this in June as well. June 7th. Probably the same report that I'm reading, but reported on by Game Informer. Mine's coming from Video Games Chronicle. So, there you go. It's time to humbly agree. What do you want? Like, this is PlayStation Studios boss. This is Herman Hulst saying, "Oh yeah, Bend, yeah, they're working on a new IP that's not Uncharted." You know what new IP stands for, right? Like, new intellectual property. When they say new IP, it'll be a whole new title. It won't be Uncharted. Uncharted would not be classified as a new IP. It would be classified as they're working on a new installment of one of our franchises that builds on the open world gameplay of Zombie Shooter Days Gone. Exactly. They're working on the Last of Us multiplayer and Uncharted. No. How can you say exactly after I just read that? What are you talking about? No. A cool mod for PC. Oh, that's cool. Putting Norman Reedus in Days Gone. That's a pretty good fit. Basically turning it into The Walking Dead. An amazing mod for PC, Paul. Turn all the other characters into other characters from The Walking Dead. You know what I mean? Yo, Liz just got a gifted membership so they can celebrate a 4-month milestone. Appreciate you, Liz. I think he thinks new IP means The Last of Us and Uncharted. Yeah, I think you're misunderstanding a gaming industry colloquialism. New IP means a brand new title. I never said anything about a new IP, though. I'm going to try this one more time, bro. You have been in here saying that Sony Bend is helping with The Last of Us multiplayer and Uncharted. That is false. They may be helping with the multiplayer, but they are not working on Uncharted because, according to Herman Hulst, head of Sony Studios, they are working on a new IP. A new IP cannot refer to Uncharted because Uncharted is not a new IP. I said Uncharted and The Last of Us multiplayer. This is all in an article. Yeah, you're not listening to me. I just said that that's what you've been indicating. and it can't be Uncharted because they've said it's a new IP. You're struggling with a very basic concept. This may be a completely new thing to you. Maybe the English isn't your first language, and maybe we're having some lost in translation struggles here. You're misunderstanding what a new IP is. I mean, I'll click on the article from Game Informer if you would like, from June of this year, which is only 3 months ago. Yeah, right here, Kevin McAllister from Ben Studio, which I love that name, like Home Alone. We are currently working on a new IP that includes multiplayer and builds upon the open world systems of Days Gone, but brings you a whole new world that we are extremely excited to craft for you. We cannot wait to reveal it to you when the time is right. That cannot be Uncharted. I never said new IP. That was Eugene and Jay. Oh my gosh! I never said new IP. I know. That's what makes you incorrect. You never said it was a new IP. That's right. It is a new IP. It's not Uncharted. You're wrong. Ben was in fact working on both, and Uncharted and Last of Us multiplayer. That was not false info. Okay. According to PlayStationLifestyle.net, in April of this year, Sony Ben was reportedly working on a new Uncharted game that was meant to be a reboot of sorts. So they are no longer doing it. Elsewhere in the report, Schreier revealed that the team within Sony, the Visual Arts Service Group, planned to remake the Uncharted game, but the idea was scrapped due to budget concerns. However, Ben Studio exiting the project, it seems the plans for a new Uncharted game have been scrapped. Did you hear that? Ben Studio exited the project. The plans for the Uncharted game have been scrapped. So... you were saying they were working on them. I don't understand. What's the point in saying they were working on them if they're not working on them right now? What was the point of you saying that? Now they are working on a new IP. Oh my gosh. Okay, we have understanding now. We have some understanding. So I want you to explain to me, why were you establishing that they were working on Uncharted and Last of Us multiplayer? I need that to be explained to me. We've gone all the way down this dadgum rabbit hole. Let's keep frickin' going. Because this is about the Days Gone 2 pitch. Ben was sent to work on those games instead of Days Gone 2. He's still holding on to the original false premise I rejected. I've got it. I understand now. So Filta's position was that Ben had a pitch for Days Gone 2 that was rejected, ... because of The Last of Us multiplayer and Uncharted. I don't think that presumption has legs. I think their pitch was rejected, and then it was like, this is what you're going to work on instead. I don't necessarily think they were like, no, because of The Last of Us, we're scrapping Days Gone 2. They rejected the pitch and said, we're going to work on you. We're going to have you work on these things instead. That doesn't mean the Days Gone 2 has been scrapped, and it certainly doesn't mean it was scrapped because of those things. No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying this happened after. Okay, It sounds like you're either backpedaling or there was a giant misunderstanding, because it seemed to me that Eugene and Jay were arguing with you about the fact that it wasn't scrapped, and it certainly wasn't scrapped because of The Last of Us. That's their understanding of your position, was that it's been completely scrapped, and that it was scrapped because of The Last of Us. That was their understanding of your position. So they either both simultaneously completely misunderstood you, or you're backpedaling. It was because the Days Gone 2 pitch failed. So that's wording it differently. They got put on those things because the pitch failed is not the same as saying the pitch failed because of these projects. Do you see the significant difference in how that's phrased? Seems pedantic. It seems like we're splitting hairs, but there's a big difference between saying, well, the Days Gone 2 pitch got rejected, so we're going to put you on this stuff over here. That's not the same as saying we're rejecting this pitch because of these other games. There's such a difference of intention there. Oh, we're late. We're late to our next show. Hang on a second. Thank you guys for the massive gifted members today. Don't gift any more members because we're about to shift gears to a God of War stream. We got a bunch of new details from the Game Informer article, and my thumbnail is amazing. I paid for this. I paid money for this digital edition, and I'm very disappointed in what I got. I paid for this? This is all you've got? No, there's good info in the article, but I am pretty disappointed. We do multiple shows a day, roughly between 2 and 3 hours long. Our second show of the day is new details about God of War Ragnarok. So don't go anywhere. We're going to transition to that very, very soon. I'm going to quickly run upstairs and use the restroom. Please don't go anywhere. I don't even hit ads when I do this because I feel like it's just so disruptive to the stream. If you haven't hit subscribe yet, consider doing that. That's how you talk in my chat. And consider smashing the like button. We'll need a bunch of new likes when we go over to the new stream as well. So help us hit 500 likes on this video. We only need 30 more likes. That's amazing. When can I gift? Wait for the next stream, Dad Not Good, because sometimes all the memberships don't get grabbed. Wait for the next stream if you don't mind. If you don't mind. Plus, I'd rather reward the people that stay with us. You want a gifted membership? Then stick around. I'll be right back. Okay. All right, hang on a second. Let me get... okay. I'm going to need you guys to do me a really big favor, okay? You guys debating the whole Sony Ben thing, you can't come to the new stream and do that. It will be absolutely disruptive to what I try to do. We welcome debate. We think debating is awesome, but the next stream isn't even tangentially related to that. So please, you gotta let that one go. Great. Giving you pats? People are gifting members, Mama. We're close to 1,300 members. We might be playing some genital jousting on Friday night. She's so grumpy about it. You guys will be so pleased. If you're not a member right now, that's worth the price of admission. Spend $5. You don't even have to be here. You don't even have to be here live on Friday. You don't even have to be here live. You can watch the VOD and just enjoy. You're deleting it. Oh my gosh. Okay. Okay. She's playing what? After that pitch hat? Oh, he's still going. All right, tweets are out. Let me hit the Discord. All right, I'll put a link in chat. It will redirect you. You should get redirected. If you don't get redirected, there'll be a link in chat just in case. God of War Ragnarok, new details are here. I paid for them. There was a digital edition of the Game Informer cover story, and we recently covered the God of War Ragnarok combat details, and unfortunately, most of what was in the Game Informer article was basically that. There was a lot of fluff. I'm going to break down, I still think there were nuggets of good things in the article. I'm going to break down everything from that article right here at the front end of the stream. I'll be ending the previous stream about the Last of Us reviews, about the remake. If you want to see that VOD, go check that out. I'm going to bring those people over from that stream. We do lots of live streams every day. I try to put all the good information right at the beginning of the stream so you don't have to go searching for it. So I'm going to do that in a moment in the brief update.